Tilt, Jack Watmore and Romani Edmonds-Green. Left wing back for them is James McLean. Right wing back is Ryan Niambe. Midfield duo of Tom Naylor and Jordan Cousins, with Max Power just in front of them. And then up front, Callum Lang and lone striker from Watford, Ashley Fletcher. On the bench for the Latics, Jones, Edwards, Keane, Scully, Derikwa, Magenis, Asgard, Hughes and Adiko. Fairly strong from both teams. I mean, only 7 changes between the two sides, Simon. So both going for this pretty strongly, and maybe a slight surprise that Wigan are, given their precarious position.
Yeah, I guess Kolo Touré's had to make a couple of changes. Broadhead, I think, has headed back to Everton after a loan spell. He's one of their stronger players, 5 goals so far, so he's been recalled by Everton. But in the main, he's gone with that squad really. I don't think they're exactly blessed with numbers. They've lost a couple who've been recalled, as I mentioned. So he's gone from his normal squad. Asgard, I mentioned earlier on, scored the winner here in September. Looked a decent player, but obviously hasn't kicked on from that. He came on and scored a stunning goal that afternoon. And Wigan were really second best. Luton very much on top, but could only manage the 1 goal for about 75 minutes, and then lo and behold, Wigan came to life in the last 10-15 and ended up winning by 2 goals to 1. Luton in that period just dropping points at home. It's been a little bit of a feature thus far, but a stronger side out tonight. They'll be looking to just keep that momentum going.
Looks like it will be the Hatters to get us underway this evening. Under the lights at Kenilworth Road, live on BBC Three Counties Radio on all frequencies until 6 p.m. Then you'll have to be tuned in to either digital radio or on BBC Sports online for commentary as Luton get us underway, kicking from right to left as we see it in this first half. Ethan Horvath smashes forward towards the Wigan penalty area. Wigan clear as far as Bree, who nods back towards the edge of the penalty area. Woodrow wins the flick on, and then Jack Watmore, the former Portsmouth defender, will see it out of play for a goal kick to Wigan. And in luminescent green this evening, Ben Amos will put the ball on the edge of his 6-yard area. It's his first appearance since October, Ben Amos. He was the preferred goalkeeper until that time. Then Jamie Jones has taken the number 1 spot in goal for Wigan this season. Amos clears downfield. The rain coming down at Kenilworth Road, not quite as heavy as it was earlier today. You can certainly see it coming down in the lights of the floodlights at Kenilworth Road, and the moon just shining through the clouds.
Very picturesque, isn't it? Yes,
it is. Wigan throw forward, and Lang's been wrestled off the ball by Gabe Osho. Good ball over the halfway line from Watson. Now Luton can try and come forward. Crawley Woodrow on this left touchline, sets back towards Carlton Morris, and then he plays back inside the Hatters half to Dan Potts. A minute gone, Luton Town 0, Wigan Athletic 0. A crossfield ball from Osho is a good one and finds James Bree, who flicks it forward for Alan Campbell, chasing towards the byline. Has kept possession away from Jordan Cousins, who's sticking to him as Bree flicks inside to Campbell, round the corner. Good crossing opportunity this for the Hatters. In it goes, tidied up by Naylor, and then James McLean back there trying to defend, has Burke on his shoulder, who's very high up. Reece Burke right on top of the Wigan corner flag and has forced the ball out of play for a Wigan throw deep inside their own half on the left hand side.
Yeah, just looking at how Luton are lining up, it's Osho in the middle of that back three with Burke, apart from when he's rampaging forward, to his right, and Potts to his left, and then it looks like Woodrow is just sitting in behind Cornick and Morris. Thought he might go to his left, but at the moment he's just sort of sitting behind that front two, and Campbell and Louis Watson in that central midfield area.
Luton have won a free kick over on the right hand side, about midway through the Wigan Athletic half. Reece Burke getting forward along with Dan Potts as well from the back, and I'm sure Burke will be desperate to get forward like he did against Huddersfield for what proved to be the winning goal 6 days ago on New Year's Day. James Bree standing over the free kick, and he's got a very good set piece delivery. Approaching 3 minutes at Kenilworth Road. Luton 0, Wigan 0. First real opportunity here for the Hatters. Needs a good delivery from James Bree. It's very deep, and too deep, and behind for a goal kick as Ben Amos just watches it behind his goal with his arms outstretched. disappointing delivery from James.
Yeah, it was by his high
him.
standards, absolutely. And there's a bit to aim at as well. He's got some height in there. Potts always gets up well. Gabe Osho back in central defence is tall, and of course Rhys Burke back as well, as well as Morris in there. No Adebayo, he's on the bench, but when those three all push up, they would have been hoping for something a little bit better than that.
Luton with 3 successive wins, Wigan with 4 straight defeats, and it's the Hatters who have started well here, but Wigan on the attack at the moment. Max Power on the right hand side, sets back to Ryan Nyambe, back from him to Naylor, who comes forward down the right and then tried to set it back towards Power, but it was well read and intercepted. Bell and Woodrow were both tracking and thought they might have won a throw there, but it's a Wigan throw midway through the Hatters half on the right. Little 1-2 between Nyambe and Power. Nyambe now striding down the right side, tracked though by Bell, who puts it out of play for a throw to Wigan deep inside the Hatters half on the right. Approaching 4 minutes, still Luton 0, Wigan 0. This will be a longer throw now from Max Power as the blue shirts file into the penalty area. Wigan in their usual blue shirts with blue shorts and white socks. The Hatters in their orange tops with the navy shorts and orange socks as Rhys Burke headers away, but towards the byline, and it's seen out of play for a corner. Didn't deal with that particularly well, the Hatters, and conceding a rather cheap corner.
It wasn't really aimed at anybody, was it? It was sort of looped into the near post, and there were plenty of orange shirts there. Rhys Burke got to it, but couldn't direct his header away from goal, as you say, straight out for a corner.
Wigan 7 games without an away win, but have a corner here. It's going to be a left-footed in-swinging delivery from the right off the left foot of James McLean, and it goes towards the near post. Couldn't beat the first man, headed away by Louis Watson, out of play for a Wigan throw deep inside the Hatters half on the right, or about midway through their half on the right. Max Power again will look to try and launch this into the penalty area. There's no blue shirts within about 20 yards of him, so he's going to need an almighty throw from Max Power here, and it goes. And it is pretty big, headed downwards but not clear, headed towards the edge of the penalty area, back in by Cousins, chased by Nyambe. There was a little push on Horvath and not given as a free kick, so sliding across was Watson, who screams at the linesman on the near side for not flagging for a free kick. He certainly seemed to be pushed there, Horvath.
It was contact, wasn't there? He came a long way, Horvath, but there appeared to be contact, certainly. Sort of thing you'd often see given, but not on this occasion.
Usually goalkeepers get the benefit of the doubt there, but not that time, as Potts' head is clear for Luton. Nyambe then tries to nod it wide for Power. They couldn't keep possession though, Wigan. It runs out of play for a Hatters throw deep inside their own half on the left-hand side.
Well, this is a weapon, isn't it, the long throw, and Luton have it with Harry Cornick today, but a lot of Power's ones haven't been flat, have they? They've not been like a sort of cross coming in. There's been the looping ball in towards the near post, which don't have the same threat, I wouldn't think.
Ball headed in field by Romani Edmonds-Green on loan from Huddersfield Town. And Luton played in their last game before this one, as Watson tidies up and shows good vision to play across to Burke, who's played down the right touchline to Bree on the halfway line, plays in field to Campbell, back to Bree again. Wigan choosing to press a bit higher, Fletcher closing down Horvath, who plays right-footed out to the left-hand side to Dan Potts. Little ball down the line from him, looking for Carlton Morris, who gets up well but loses out in the air to Edmonds-Green, and now challenging is Paulie Woodrow, and Naylor's put his hand on the ball, and for some reason no decision's been made by the referee, and eventually it goes the Hatters' way. But I mean, he handled the ball, Naylor, without too much contact from Woodrow, and I don't know why it took the referee about 10 seconds to finally blow his whistle. I don't know what he was waiting for.
No, once he hadn't given the foul against Woodrow, Naylor was just obstructing the ball, wasn't he? He was just lying all over the ball. Once the foul hadn't been given, and they had to actually play it, and all he did was just sort of lie over it.
Another Hatters free kick, this time from the left-hand side. James Bree over it again, and we'll hope for a better delivery than the one he produced about 5 minutes ago. 7 minutes played, still Luton 0, Wigan 0. FA Cup third round action for the Hatters this evening. A right-footed in-swinging delivery from James Bree. That's a better cross, and it's bounced all the way through for another goal kick. That time it was a better delivery from Bree, but no one made contact somehow.
No, it's just a little bit behind the players, wasn't it? Once they run forward onto it, it was just a little bit behind them. So the first one was too far in front of everybody. That one's slightly behind. So third time lucky, hopefully, if he gets that opportunity, which I'm sure he will at some point. But yeah, it was a better connection. But yeah, once Wigan sort of just got in the way, and then nobody trying to get on the end of it could actually really make any proper contact.
Still Luton 0, Wigan 0. Hatters aiming for a 4th straight win in all competitions in what is their first home game of 2023. Here come Wigan. Ashley Fletcher chasing a ball forward, picks it up right hand side of the Luton penalty area, has to turn away under pressure from Osho, sets back to Nyambe, who lofts across onto the roof of the net, and Ethan Horvath was pretty happy to see that go over his crossbar, didn't need to jump and make sure. Another looping delivery, as it were, and that time behind for a goal kick.
Of course, Luton at Wigan in a fortnight in the league, and potentially, of course, a few days before that, should a replay be required. But league game coming up in a fortnight up in the northwest.
Horvath clears for the Hatters from the edge of his 6-yard box. Naylor underneath it, and now Watson will pick it up on the halfway line. Nice little dummy from him to work a bit of space and then find Corley Woodrow on to Alan Campbell midway through the Wigan half, wide now to James Bree. Plenty of players to pick out in the centre, and the cross again is too deep. Everyone ran towards the 6-yard area, and James Bree put it to the back post, and it's gone behind for another goal kick.
As I say, by his very high standards, that's 3 disappointing deliveries. Certainly that one. Lovely little piece of work from Louis Watson, who started off quite nervously last week at Huddersfield, but then really came into the game, looked solid in that central area, just doing simple things. But that was a little bit more than, it was a good ball threaded through to Woodrow, and they got it out to the right-hand side, and the orange shirts queuing up, but again, disappointing delivery from Bree.
Ball picked up in the centre by Watson again. He's found Morris. Little ball inside was a clever one for Woodrow, but it was well intercepted. Now Wigan have given it away. Louis Watson on scene. Plays it through. It's a nice ball for Cornick. He's going to chase this towards the byline and keep it alive for the Hatters. Has Bell for support, but plays into Watson instead. Gets it onto his left foot. Wide to Cornick again inside the box. Left-hand side. Forced away from goal. Sets back to Amari Bell. Decent delivery. Headed away by Nyambe towards the edge of the penalty area. And now Wigan can try and counter-attack. Jordan Cousins driving forward down the left-hand side. Over the halfway line as the orange shirts get back for the Hatters. Still going Cousins as Lang makes his way into the penalty areas. Tried to put the cross in too early. He only had Lang to pick out. Fletcher and Power hadn't made their way into the box yet, and in the end the cross goes behind for a goal kick.
Yeah, that was not a great ball, but he was too quick for everybody, wasn't he, Jordan Cousins? He went racing away and got the cross in. Referee's just, what are you going over there for, the referee? I'm not sure.
He's having a word with the ball boy. I don't know if the ball boy perhaps picked it up before it went out of play, perhaps, because now Horvath has got it in his gloves. And he's just had a quick word with him and sort of pointed towards the ball boy.
Perhaps he got it just before it crossed the line, but anyway, it was a good breakout from Cousins. 2 Luton players on the edge of the penalty area. Burke was trying to head it back into the danger area, and I think Campbell sort of got in his way, and they ended up knocking into each other, and Cousins was off, but such was his speed, nobody could keep up with him, and when he did get the cross in, there was nobody there.
11 minutes played. We're tuned in to BBC Three Counties Radio, or listening on BBC Sport Online. Bernie Keith takes over on all FM frequencies from 6 p.m. And you'll have to be tuned in to either DAB or listening online on the BBC Sport website for commentary of this one. It's Luton 0, Wigan 0 thus far. No real clear-cut chances as yet either. A couple of breaks forward from both teams, and disappointing final products as well at both ends, really.
Yep.
Throw for Wigan, midway through the Hatters half on the right, thrown down the line by Power to Ashley Fletcher, who's tracked by 2 and gets a low ball in, which is turned away by Gabe Osho. Up jumps Cornick, loses out in the air to Jordan Cousins, and then Woodrow goes down. Thought he was tugged, but nothing's given. Here come Wigan. Power's ball into the feet of Fletcher, kept it alive by finding Jordan Cousins, sweeps it wide to the left-hand side to James McLean. He's up against Bree here, who's backpedaling. McLean goes for goal, right-footed, high and wide off his weaker right foot, the Irishman, and behind for another goal kick.
Actually looked quite close from here, but I think Ethan Horvath was quite confident it was going to go well wide of his left-hand post, but a little opportunity there. Nobody really closed him down quickly enough, McLean.
Again, good vision from Watson.
He's playing well, isn't he?
A little bit of pressure, and he did well to find Burke in space. He's got excellent vision. He's always scanning. And he's trying to drop deep here to collect possession from Osho, but Osho's going to look for a longer ball here by the looks of things. Instead plays it wide to Reece Burke. Then Watson on the move again, but Burke plays across to Gabe Osho. He helps it wide. It's a loose ball though, and Woodrow had to backtrack to get it, and he did well to keep it in play, and now has space to work with up the line to Carlton Morris, who forays in field, finding Watson, lets it run across his body and then finds Burke against another smart piece of play in midfield from Louis Watson. Burke drives forward now down the right, stops on the ball and finds Alan Campbell, who's forced away from goal, over on the right touchline. Little flick inside from Bryn. It breaks here for Louis Watson. Watson onto his right foot, sends it wide again to Bree. Little flick down the line, and Campbell has space here on the right in front of the byline. Gets the cross in, chipped across towards Morris. Downward header, lacked power. A comfortable save in the end for Ben Amos, but a first shot on target for either side. 13 minutes gone, still goalless.
Nice from Bree that. He just rolled Campbell in rather than get the cross in himself. He just rolled Campbell in, but Louis Watson's doing some great stuff in that midfield area, and you can hear the fans almost purring every time he gets the ball.
Ashley Fletcher's just gone down under pressure from Gabe Osho and wanted a free kick, but nothing given. This referee's letting a lot go so far.
Well, I thought that was a free kick, I have to say.
Yeah. And Luton probably should have had a couple as well, sort of 5 or 6 minutes ago.
Well, it's a rugby tackle, to be honest. I mean, there would have been an argument. He'd have been off and clear in a way. I think probably just about a covering player, Potts covering across, but...
Well, I'll tell you what it reminded me of was when he got himself sent off from the challenge on Pookie, when Pookie rolled him and he sort of dragged him back. I mean, it was a lot further away from goal,
yes,
but similar sort of challenge as Amari Bell's under pressure from Niambe and plays back to Gabe Osho midway through the Hatters half, wide from him to Burke, who can take it over the halfway line on the right, threads it through for Cornick, who's stepped off the back line. He then went down after a tug, nothing given to that either, and now Watmore can clear for Wigan. It's a straight ball over the top, and Gabe Osho has to nod downwards. Power picks up the loose ball and then plays wide to Fletcher. He's under pressure. Fletcher flicks forward, but Burke well placed to clear for the Hatters. It bounces before the halfway line, then Naylor heads across to Jordan Cousins. Cousins brings it forward for Wigan and plays wide in front of Edwards' technical area. There's Luton clear. Now Campbell inside the Hatters half plays across to Dan Potts. He's got plenty of time here and just plays it out to Bell. Bell then goes for a longer ball, looking for Harry Cornick, who runs in behind of Watmore, sort of faked to hold it up and then quickly tried to spin in behind him, but it just bounced through into the arms of Ben Amos. 15 minutes played, still Luton 0, Wigan 0. As Fletcher picks it up in a deep position, then goes down under pressure from Woodrow, and that is given as a free kick, and it's probably the tamest of challenges of the ones that haven't been given so far. As Max Power plays the ball down the line with his right foot, down the right hand side, chased here by Lang, who's going to try and keep it in play on the byline, and he thinks he's seen it out of play for a corner, and he has done, much to the disapproval of Dan Potts, who stands with his hands on his hips just staring down the linesman, but it's a Wigan corner.
Well, Potts, I think, was trying to shepherd it out of play, and he didn't quite have the power behind it to do that, and then Lang came across and seemed to play it, but he seemed to be the one who knocked it out of play. But assistant better placed than we are, but yeah, another corner.
FA Cup third round then, Luton 0, Wigan 0, 16 minutes played, and FA Cup third round tie, a decade on from Wigan's FA Cup final triumph in 2013 in the FA Cup final against Manchester City. And the referee just addressing a few things inside the penalty area ahead of this Wigan corner. Referee is David Webb this evening. And it goes then from James McLean, whipped towards the near post. It was flicked on at the near post and blocked by Osho. Comes back out to McLean, another left-footed delivery, deeper this time, and a brilliant save from Ethan Horvath. Close range header, and he managed to palm it away, but Luton Town unable to do with the second ball, and it's turned in from close range by Tom Naylor, and Wigan lead inside 17 minutes. Horvath made the initial save, Luton switched off, it was played back into the 6-yard box, and he couldn't make the second save. Naylor was unmarked, pounced and scored from close range, and the heads turned towards the assistant on the near side, who kept his flag down, and Wigan lead 1-0.
It was a great ball in from McLean to start with, and it was a good corner routine because they went to the near post trying to get the flick on, came back out to him, whipped a great ball into the back post. I think it was Watmore's header, which brilliantly saved by Horvath, and I think everybody stopped to admire that and sort of half cleared it and were busy saying, well done Ethan, great save. Meanwhile, Wigan rolled it back into the 6-yard area, and there was Naylor to tuck it in, absolutely unmarked, absolutely unchallenged. He had a quick look over his shoulder, flag stayed down. Luton just asleep there at that set piece and find themselves a goal behind.
Cries of come on Luton inside Kenilworth Road. Very unlike the Hatters to switch off in that situation. Wigan came from a goal down to win here in September, and Luton will have to try and do the same this evening, but Burke's lost out, and now Lang chases the ball towards the far side. He can't quite keep it in play though, and it's a Hatters throw just inside their own half on the right. 18 minutes played. Luton 0, Wigan 1. Wigan at the foot of the championship, but it's an FA Cup match day, and form goes out of the window. The form between these two sides is stark contrast. Wigan with 4 straight defeats, Luton with 3 straight wins. Luton unbeaten at home since Wigan won here in the league in September, and it's Wigan who lead again this evening. Here come Luton. Potts plays down the line to Amari Bell. With his yellow boots, plays infield to Morris, who rolls the defender and then ran into traffic as Nyambe tidies up for Wigan. His attempted clearance is blocked by Morris and goes out of play for a throw right on top of the corner flag, and Nyambe saying to the referee that it should be a goal kick, but it's a throw to Wigan, and Luton will really try and pen the Latics in here. Nyambe told to take it right on top of the corner flag as well. He can't gain a few yards from this, with David Webb keeping a beady eye on him. Up the line it goes from Nyambe. Potts challenging in the air, headed it against Bell, and now Wigan will tidy up with Fletcher. Ball forward by Nyambe and cleared out of play by Rhys Burke, who had Lang putting him under pressure. And Wigan have a throw on the halfway line on the right. 19 minutes played at Kenilworth Road, and it's the Latics who lead by a goal to 0. Kolo Toure in search of his first win as manager, like Rob Edwards, appointed during the recent World Cup break in November. Some Wigan fans already turning against him, Kolo Toure. I think they were pretty unhappy with the appointment initially because he's fairly unproven. He's worked under Brendan Rodgers as a first-team head coach at Leicester City prior to his Wigan appointment. This is his first job as a manager in the hot seat, as it were. As Burke picks up the ball for Luton, under pressure from Jordan Cousins though, and Bree has to chase this back towards his penalty area, and now Horvath under pressure from Lang, plays a 1-2 with Bree, and now the Hatters can look forward, having played their way out of a little bit of trouble. Bree stops on the ball and then pokes it back towards Rhys Burke, across to Gabe Osho. Now Dan Potts with space on the left hand side to take it over the halfway line. Fletcher tracking him and plays in field, does Potts to Morris, and then Morris has switched it wide towards James Bree, who's got space to work with on the right hand side this time. Plenty of shirts in the centre, and once again James Bree's cross is somehow even worse than some of his ones earlier in the game. He's hit the scoreboard with that, which is above
Takes
the
some doing,
way
doesn't it? Yeah, no, that's what's that now, 4, a couple of set pieces and a couple of crosses in open play, just not got that right at all. Completely sliced that one from Bree, and you know, got right underneath it as well, as you say, crashed against the scoreboard. Rain's coming down as well now, isn't it? Really pouring down. Yeah, certainly a lot heavier than it was at kick-off. Not that that's an excuse for James Bree, mind you, but worth pointing out as Tom Naylor clips forward, round goes Dan Potts and then clears out of play. A little shove in the back on him from Ashley Fletcher. A little wry smile between the pair at each other, grimacing smile almost. 21 minutes played, still Luton 0, Wigan 1. Tom Naylor's goal after 17 minutes the difference, and Wigan have given the ball away here. Harry Cornick will now play over to the right hand side to James Bree, who brings it forward. He's got Watson in space inside. He's found the ball as much in the last 5-10 minutes, Louis Watson, having made an impressive start to the game. As Osho sweeps it across to Dan Potts, through to Woodrow, who collects just past the halfway line, and then Bell will play back to Dan Potts, across from him to Rhys Burke this time. Takes it up to the halfway line, then back inside to Osho. Luton Town not forcing anything and staying very passive in their approach to breaking Wigan down. And then a loose touch from Rhys Burke means he has to play all the way back to Ethan Horvath. Short from him to Osho. Wigan just sitting off Luton at the moment, and having pressed higher earlier in the game, sort of asking the question, well, let's see what you're made of, as Osho finds Bell. Now Bell drives inside, good burst of pace from him as Bell tries to thread it through and finds Corley Woodrow on his left foot. His effort's blocked. Might break here for Carlton Morris. It's just poked away from him by Max Power, but that'll get the fans on their feet. An effort from Woodrow, which is blocked. We're midway through the first half. Luton 0, Wigan 1, and I'll hand you over to Simon Oxley, who will take you to half time. Yeah, good forcing run that from Amari Bell. but not able to create anything quite on this occasion. Corley Woodrow got the shot away, but it was blocked. But here come Luton again. Rhys Burke down the right-hand side. Luton attacking the Oak Road end as we sit here on this main stand side, playing from right to left as we look in this first period. Trailing by a goal to nil though. Dan Potts rolls it forward to Morris. Morris back to Louis Watson. Watson midway inside the Wigan half to Campbell. Campbell laying it off to Burke. Burke forward to Bree down that right-hand side. Bree helps it on to Harry Cornick. Cornick forced out wide. Under pressure, Harry Cornick wins a throw midway inside the Wigan half. Right-hand side for the Hatters. 23 minutes gone. Luton 0, Wigan 1 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Reminder that at 6 o'clock we'll be splitting frequencies. If you're listening on FM, that's where you'll find Bernie Keith through until 8 o'clock on our FM frequencies. If you want to stay with the football, digital radio for continued coverage of Luton against Wigan. And of course today you can listen via the BBC Sport website as well. Very good evening to you wherever you're listening. Already today, Watford have gone out, beaten 2-0 at Reading. Very young Watford side losing in the 12:30 kick-off. And a draw for Boreham Wood against Accrington. 1 apiece at Meadow Park. Leon Love's equaliser for the Wood. They'll have to do it all again in Lancashire in round about 10 days' time. We'll hear from the Boreham Wood manager, Luke Garrod, at half-time. Here's a free kick for Luton, midway inside the Wigan half. Bree swings it in. That's a better one towards Morris, headed away by Watmore, but Morris adjudged to be fouling his marker. And he's saying he had hold of my shirt, and referee David Webb saying words to the effect of you had hold of his, and he's perhaps been a little bit too forceful there, Carlton Morris, because the referee wants a chat. And also with Romani Edmonds-Green, who's just gone down on the edge of the D, actually. He's taken a knock to his head, I think. The rest of the referee's pointing out, saying it's a head injury, so the physios can come on for Wigan, who lead here by a goal to nil, courtesy of Tom Naylor. More FA Cup football tomorrow, don't forget. Stevenage at Aston Villa. 4:30 kick-off, 95.5 and 103.8 FM for the Borough at Villa Park. BBC Sport Online as well. And the fourth round draw, incidentally, although obviously Luton losing here, but Boreham Wood will be in it. And Stevenage will, of course, because it'll be before they kick off. Fourth round draw tomorrow, BBC One, round about 4 o'clock before the coverage of Manchester City against Chelsea. Rain still pouring down. And Edmonds-Green, I think it's Edmonds-Green, isn't it? Just must have picked a knock up there to his head. Perhaps a cut there that the referee's decided needs treatment.
Yeah, I think so, because he looked okay, Edmonds-Green, and it was the referee who told him you need to receive treatment and the physios need to come on the pitch. So I can only assume that would mean that he's cut his head. Of course, they need to tidy up any blood, and if he needs bandaging, he'll need bandaging before re-entering the pitch. But he's being helped, was being helped back up on his feet. And he's having to change his shirt, so that would assume that he's got some blood on his shirt. Yeah. So he'll have to change his shirt, which means he'll be off the pitch. Oh no, they brought a shirt with them. They came prepared.
Yes, they did. Yes, he'll have to go off to come back on again because he's had treatment, won't he? But will it be a plain shirt, or have they got a spare one with his name and number on?
I think it's plain.
I'm imagining a plain one. So he will be the man with no number and no name, Romani Edmonds-Green, on loan from Huddersfield. Come off on this near side to come back on again.
It's okay until 3 or 4 players have to change their shirts, and then it gets a bit confusing.
Then you have to keep looking at the shorts. 26 minutes gone. Luton 0, Wigan 1. They're finally getting him off the pitch on this near side. And free kick will be taken by the Wigan goalkeeper, Ben Amos, who will clear from the edge of the penalty area, right-footed, over the halfway line, headed away by Burke, and flicked forward by McLean, away by Burke again, and Cornick with some space now down the right-hand side, just forced to check and cuts inside. Finds Alan Campbell inside the centre circle, across to Dan Potts. Potts to Amari Bell. Bell cutting inside, still Bell. Forward towards Cornick, edge of the penalty area. Cornick on the left, forced back to Dan Potts. Patient from Luton, but not too much penetration, I think it would be fair to say. Osho driving forward. Osho out to the right-hand side to Bree. Not a save to make yet, has he? I don't think, Ben Amos. Morris trying to lay it off for Bree, but Bree has it back again. Now Woodrow, Burke, Watson. Wigan defending their lead. Watson playing it out to the left-hand side to Amari Bell. Bell helps it on to Campbell. Campbell left edge of the penalty area. Defender comes across and makes the challenge and concedes the corner. First corner for Luton. Tom Naylor concedes it, the goal scorer. Alan Campbell tackled inside the area, and James Bree comes across to deliver the corner from this left-hand side. And we'll be hoping just to get the delivery right first and foremost.
He came thundering across, didn't he, Tom Naylor, from nowhere, and needed to as well, because Campbell was away down the left side of the box.
Here's Bree to take the corner, right-footed, swings it in towards the back post. It's headed clear. Just to say, you need to be on digital radio or listening online for continued coverage. If you're on FM, Bernie Keith coming up through until 8 o'clock on our FM frequencies. As Horvath clears upfield for Luton, chested down by Carlton Morris, but straight to a Wigan player. It's Naylor, forced out wide Naylor, but then clips it down the touchline and it goes out of play, and it'll be a Luton throw back inside their own half. Luton 0, Wigan 1, Three Counties Sport, now on digital radio, Freeview channel 720 as well, and live via the BBC Sport website. Half time we'll hear, as I mentioned, from the Boreham Wood manager Luke Garrard after that 1-1 draw with Accrington. The Wood will be in the 4th round draw tomorrow after all their FA Cup heroics last season. Luton, who beat Harrogate here in the 3rd round last season, won at Cambridge and then ran Chelsea close here in the 5th round. Amari Bell with a throw on halfway down the line, looking for Cornick, headed away by Edmonds Green. Headed forward again by Wigan, but tied it up by Osho. Gets there ahead of Fletcher and Lang. Osho to Bree, to Campbell. Campbell forward to Woodrow. Woodrow trying to lay it off first time to Bree, but Wigan player covering across, but it's gone out of play, I think, before Curtis Tilt slipped over there, so it will be a Wigan throw. And on the subject of, we were talking non-league, of course, earlier on, because it was the non-league show with Ollie. Slightly different lineup today because of the kick-off times. Worth remembering, of course, 10 years ago, Luton as a non-league side beat Wolves here in the 3rd round. It was conference, as it then was, against Championship side, beating Wolves 1-0 here. Alex Lawless with the goal. And of course, in the next round, they won at Norwich, who were then in the Premier League. Luton with a throw, forward to Cornick down the right-hand side. Cornick twisting and turning. Low cross in, which took a slight deflection and should be cleared by Naylor. Clears it against Woodrow, and that goes out of play for a goal kick. But they're not creating any real opportunities as yet, Luton.
No, they're not quite enough quality in the final third from the Hatters at the moment. Cornick and Morris, Woodrow, they're all having to come quite deep to collect possession. There's not a lot of movement in the final third, and then the deliveries when there have been an opportunity to cross, Bree and not so much Bell, mainly Bree really down that right side. We've mentioned earlier his crossing hasn't really been, well, hasn't at all been on the money in this game so far. That's a loose clearance that time from Osho as well. Yeah, just sliced it over to the right hand side, but Bree gets across there to get there ahead of McLean and finds Cornick. Cornick back to Bree, in towards Woodrow, tried to flick it on first time to Harry Cornick, but Wigan clear. Tilt knocks it forward for Fletcher to chase after. Reece Burke back there to clear, but comes back again, or should have been towards Fletcher, but it was a poorly placed pass by Jordan Cousins, and out of play for a Luton Town goal kick. It's Luton 0, Wigan 1 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Tom Naylor's goal on 16 minutes. Luton not dealing with a set piece. Corner initially cleared, then back in. Header well saved by Horvath, but then it was rolled back into the 6-yard area and tapped in by Naylor, who had a quick look at the assistant. Flag stayed down, goal stood, and Luton trying to come from behind here, as they did at Huddersfield, of course, on New Year's Day. Louis Watson playing it forward towards Corley Woodrow. Woodrow under pressure from Cousins is bundled off the ball, and here's Ashley Fletcher now coming forward for Wigan. Has McLean overlapping down that left hand side, but Reece Burke sliding in. Wasn't the best of passes to McLean, but Burke did well to get across and put it out of play for a Wigan throw. Left hand side for the visitors. They've lost their last 4 games in the Championship, as Sam was saying earlier. Kolo Toure under a little bit of pressure already. Incredibly, the last 3 by 4 goals to 1 as well. It's so leaky at the back at Late Wigan, but look fairly strong. Well, I was going to say they looked solid enough today. There's the throw from Wigan in towards the edge of the box, headed away by Bree and picked up by Cornick, and then Cornick just seemed to have his ankles clipped and has gone down on the edge of the centre circle. Edmonds Green was in there, but I think it was an initial challenge before that. Wigan cleared it back upfield, but the flag's gone up for offside. It will be a free kick to Luton, but for the offside rather than any foul on Cornick, who all of a sudden, if he'd have just got to that, might have been away and clear, but from inside his own half. So
He's got the pace to get away, but couldn't quite beat the last defender there, Harry Cornick. He's back up on his feet, doesn't require any treatment. And play will resume with a free kick for Luton. Played short by Horvath to Gabe Osho. 1-0 to Wigan. FA Cup third round football. Our second commentary of the weekend after defeat for a young Watford side at Reading earlier. Nice turn from Bree down the right hand side to get away. Still Bree. Flicks it forward towards Woodrow. Now Campbell. Back again to Woodrow. Woodrow towards Watson. And Watson closed down quickly by Power, but holding off Power and finds Campbell, who plays it forward to Bree, back to Woodrow. They've managed to keep it in, but not really getting forward with it. Watson's battling nicely, and it's back inside the Luton half, but they have managed to string some passes together here. Osho now inside his own half, looks up, thinks about the long ball forward, rolls it across to Rhys Burke instead. 33.5 minutes gone, 1-0 to Wigan. Cornick back to Bree. Bree forward towards Woodrow and Morris, but Edmonds Green covering across to clear the ball away, headed away by Burke. Comes to Watson again. Watson forward towards Cornick. Cornick twisting and turning, lays it off to Bree, into Woodrow. It's a nice approach play, but it's patient stuff. And now Harry Cornick has dwelt too long on the ball, and Wigan can bring it away once again. 20-30 passes there, but in the end they've not got beyond the midway point of the Wigan half.
No, and I think you have to look at the front three. I don't think there's enough movement up there. They've only got two in midfield, Luton, so it's 3v2 in the middle part of the pitch. I know Woodrow's sort of playing off the front two, but he's staying quite high, Woodrow. And it's generally 3v2 in Wigan's favour. Watson and Campbell are playing really well, but then you've got to look at the front three. If you're outnumbered in midfield, the outlets, your front three, and I get that Morris is the focal point, but I'd like to see a bit more movement from him. Cornick's dropping very deep, and Woodrow as well, not really seeing enough of the ball so far.
Watson across to Dan Potts now on this left hand side, just over halfway. Potts forward towards Amari Bell, lays it off to Morris, back again to Potts. Potts inside to Watson. Wigan just happy to keep Luton at arm's length. Here's Amari Bell, who's made a couple of surging runs already. Gets it back to Watson. Forward to Alan Campbell. Campbell down this left-hand side to Morris. Morris looking to attack the edge of the penalty area. Morris. Still Morris will go onto his right foot. Swings it into the back post. Just too high for Harry Cornick. Decent ball in from Carlton Morris. Just too high for Cornick. And it goes behind for a goal kick. But a more searching ball there from Carlton Morris. More testing for the Wigan defence, although if one's been critical, one would rather he was at the back post trying to get on the end of it.
Yeah, it's better for Morris though, because I mentioned earlier he's the focal point. He'd stayed fairly central up to that point, and it's very easy for the Wigan back line. There's three of them back there marking Carlton Morris generally, and it's very easy when he's got his back to goal. But this time he peels wide and he offers something a little bit different, coming in on his right foot, and it's just something different for the Wigan defence to think about, because it's been fairly routine for them so far.
Here's Morris again, forward to Cornick. Cornick trying to get in behind. He's forced out wide. Cornick still inside the box. Goes to pass it past the goalkeeper and just past the left-hand post. Nice play. Just played through for Cornick. And he had covering defenders, but he just cut back onto his right foot and just tried to pass it into the corner. It went beyond Ben Amos, but the keeper had it covered because it went beyond him. But it was always just drifting wide. Didn't have the curl on it, did it, to go round the goalkeeper. Had it done, he might have just got fingertips to it, but nice idea from Cornick. Yeah, somehow you just get a bobble and it might just bounce in, but it sort of went away from the post rather than just curl inside. It's the closest they've come, though.
He was always trying that corner. He wanted to get it back onto his right foot to curl it into the far corner. Maybe just made it a little bit too obvious, because Ben Amos definitely had it covered. He'd sort of already taken a step to his left, and I think he could tell that Cornick was trying to bend that into the far corner. But lovely flick from Morris to get him in behind initially, and decent chance for Cornick, who is still looking for his first goal of the season.
Indeed he is. 36 minutes gone, 1-0 to Wigan. Burke coming forward for Luton, flicks it inside to Campbell, back again to Burke. Burke still inside his own half. Back to Gabe Osho. Three Counties Sport digital radio plus the BBC Sport website through until 8 o'clock. If you're tuning in for Bernie Keith, he's on our FM frequencies this Saturday evening. James Bree down the right hand side, plays it back to Burke. Burke just over halfway, wide out to this left hand side, looking for Amari Bell. Nyambe across there to head the ball away, but Bell gets the better of him. Still Bell down the left hand side, trying to get it back onto his right foot. Gets it back to Potts. First time cross from Potts in towards Morris, who couldn't keep the header down and loops his header over the crossbar, claiming he's having his shirt tugged again, but he just got free of his marker. Morris got his head to it, but it was always an awkward angle and couldn't keep the header down.
Yeah, he's coming away from goal, Morris, who has to really use his neck muscles to direct it on target, and he gets underneath it as well. It's very difficult for him to direct it on goal. Sails harmlessly over the crossbar, but decent delivery from Dan Potts and excellent work initially from Amari Bell to shrug the challenge of Nyambe.
Goal kick then, Ben Amos takes it, over the halfway line it goes, towards Fletcher, who chests it down and then falls over. Here's Amari Bell. Amari Bell emerges with it for Luton and finds Rhys Burke. Burke to Bree now down the right-hand side, just over the halfway line. Luton 0, Wigan 1. Forward towards Morris, who can't control it. Poor pass from Bree. Ashley Fletcher has it now for Wigan. Down the left-hand side, the Watford loanee just holds it up, Fletcher. Front of the Luton dugout over on that far side. Back to Jordan Cousins. Cousins goes all the way back to Tilt. And now Naylor, the goal scorer, across to Edmonds Green in the plain shirt after that blood injury earlier on. Edmonds Green now coming forward up towards the halfway line for Wigan. Now Max Power lays it off for Nyambe. Back again to Edmonds Green, who has to go all the way back to keeper Amos. Amos under a little bit of pressure from Cornick, will clear left-footed over the halfway line towards Fletcher. Osho tries to get a foot in, but Fletcher gets away from him and brings it under control nicely and brings Nyambe into play now down this right-hand side. Nyambe rolls it back inside to Power. Power plays it in towards Lang. Lang edge of the area, back again to Power. Power low cross in towards the near post, which Horvath pounces on before Fletcher can get there. And Horvath just looking to see if there's anyone to then get rid of it too quickly, and there isn't really, so he rolls it out short to Rhys Burke. 39 minutes gone, Luton 0, Wigan 1. Burke back inside to Osho. And here Luton come again. Patient stuff inside their own half. Osho, one of 4 changes in possession now. Cornick, Woodrow, Burke and Osho coming into the side. Adebayo, Ruddock and Doughty on the bench. Here's Cornick, edge of the penalty area, but the flag's up for offside. Yeah, those 3 dropping down to the bench, and Lockyer missing altogether. Not heard of any injury. I assume it's just a well-earned rest for the Welsh international defender, and he'll be back on duty next Saturday against West Brom. Full commentary on digital radio next Saturday. We've also got Watford against Blackpool, Wycombe, Sheffield Wednesday, MK Dons, Lincoln, Stevenage up at Harrogate. All 3 o'clock kickoffs next Saturday. West Brom, Luton's opponents, a 3-3 draw for them today at Chesterfield in the FA Cup. Needed a stoppage time equaliser as well, West Brom. Up against the National League side as they are now, Chesterfield. Wigan playing the ball forward for Fletcher to chase after. Potts is there to hook the ball away for Luton. Now Watson just got a little nudge in the back there from Power, which was just enough to send him toppling over. And the referee giving Luton a free kick. 5 minutes to go until half-time. Campbell lays it off for Osho. Osho helps it on to Burke. Back again to Gabe Osho. Across to Dan Potts. Again, keeping possession, but no real penetration, or not much as yet. Woodrow forward towards Morris, who lays it off for Bell. Bell coming forward inside to Cornick. Cornick edge of the penalty area, crowded out by blue shirts. Flicks it back to Corley Woodrow. Woodrow to Carlton Morris down the left-hand side. Morris trying to get away from Nyambe. Still Morris down the left-hand side, onto his right foot. Flicks it forward to Bell. Bell twisting and turning nicely on the edge of the penalty area. Now finds Potts down the left-hand side. Potts takes a touch, swings the cross in towards Cornick, headed away by Watmore, then flicked away by Power to Fletcher. Power was nudged in the back by Bell, and that'll be a free kick. Having not given much, David Webb is now given quite a lot, the referee.
Yeah, he is, and that was a little bit unfortunate there, but he probably doesn't need to challenge, because Power's always going to get to the loose bouncing ball ahead of him, and he was only going to jump into him late. And so he probably would have been better just stepping off and then trying to get the loose ball when Power heads it forward, but he decided to challenge him and give away a rather needless free kick, because Wigan hadn't fully cleared the ball at the time.
Three County Sport on a Saturday evening, 5:30 kick-off here. It's being broadcast live around the world. No, I don't know either. Ben Amos clears the ball upfield. Fletcher lays it off, and that's straight out of play from Fletcher. With all due respect, all concerned, I'm not thinking that people are going to be setting their alarm clocks around the world to be tuning into this, and certainly not Luton fans if it carries on like that from Amari Bell, who completely miscontrols it, and it goes out of play for a Wigan throw. Almost level with the Luton Town penalty area. Right hand side for Wigan, Max Power to take it. Had a succession of long throws early on in the first half, and now gets another opportunity with 2.5 minutes to go, plus whatever referee Webb adds on for stoppage time. There'll be a little bit of that after that injury to Edmonds Green. Here's Power with the throw in towards the near post. Fletcher knocking it down. First time shot from Naylor, didn't really get any contact on it. Hooked away by Carlton Morris and then missed by Edmonds Green. Cornick can't take advantage. Edmonds Green got back to play it against Cornick, and it'll be a Luton throw, which Power is going to leave for Nyambe to take, and the Namibian not in any particular hurry to do so. Luton 0, Wigan 1. Power back to Nyambe from the throw. Intercepted now by Bell, surging forward, but shows too much of it to Naylor. And now Cousins. Cousins back to Tilt. McLean now onto his left foot, drives it forward, away by Reece Burke. Towards Tilt again, who's under pressure from Morris. Tilt just takes a touch and then plays it back to keeper Amos, who plays it short to Watmore, who doesn't want it, gives it straight back to him, and now he clears upfield. Amos up towards the halfway line, towards Fletcher. Campbell's in there, but it ricochets to Power, and Power then is nudged over by Campbell. Little nudge in the back from Campbell, down goes Power. Free kick all day long. Just a little challenge, felt the challenge from Campbell, nudge in the back, down he goes.
I mentioned just now that referee David Webb wasn't giving a lot earlier, and now all of a sudden is pulling up for everything. There's been a real shift in terms of whether he's letting the game flow or not. He was, and now it's very stop-start as we approach half-time.
Minute to go plus added time. Free kick to Wigan. Everybody back behind the ball for Luton. Wigan leading by a goal to nil if you're just tuning in. Coming up at half-time with Ollie. We'll look back on some of today's earlier action, including that draw for Boreham Wood. Luke Garrard, the Wood manager, coming up at half-time after a 1-1 draw against Accrington in the Cup today. Here's the free kick for Wigan, clipped in right-footed in towards the edge of the penalty area, headed powerfully away by Carlton Morris. Comes out to Nyambe. Nyambe plays the ball forward. Back again to Nyambe. Nyambe flicks it inside to Naylor. Back again to Nyambe. Nyambe down the line. Got some support there and goes for the return pass. All a bit crowded with Edmonds Green involved as well on this right-hand side, and he's still going down by the corner flag. Rolls it in towards Nyambe, but back there to help out is Carlton Morris, who's trying to get the ball away, crowded out by blue shirts. Assistant's dropped his flag. When he picks it up, he's given the throw to Wigan. Down on that right-hand side, and Max Power trots across to take the long throw. 2 minutes of added time. Might have heard in the background there from the PA announcer, following that injury to Edmonds Green, who's won the throw, which Power's about to take. Luton 0, Wigan 1 into added time at the end of this first half. Power hurls it in towards the near post again, headed away by Burke. Back out to Power on his right-hand side, gets away from Watson, clips a decent cross in, headed away by Burke. Nyambe flicks it back again to Power, who leaves it for Edmonds Green, who launches a big up and under, which just drops right under the crossbar and gathered in by Horvath, who had to have his wits about him there. Rolls it out quickly to Bree over on the far side, who's crowded out by blue shirts. Then Bree bundled over as he tries to get back there, and Fletcher now inside the box, left edge of the penalty area. Players arriving in the centre. He goes for the shot, saved by Horvath. Luton get the ball away, and then Woodrow clears up towards the halfway line. Possibility of a foul there by Bree. Certainly looked like a handball there over on the far side by McLean, but it's gone backwards for Wigan, so it probably won't matter too much. But Fletcher's effort well saved by Horvath, and now Luton come forward with Watson to Morris. Morris down the left-hand side as Luton look for an equaliser in these closing seconds. Morris up to the edge of the penalty area, clips the cross in, players arriving. Harry Cornick's there with a glancing header to equalise. Lovely little cross dinked in by Carlton Morris, and Harry Cornick with the deftest of headers. First goal of the season for Cornick. Deft little flick beyond Amos, who could only stand and hope that it would come back off the post. It didn't. Might have just clipped the inside of the post. It's Harry Cornick. As I say, first goal of the season for him. Lovely play from Morris. Good breakout from Luton, much more direct. And in stoppage time at the end of the first half, it's Luton 1, Wigan 1.
Yeah, it's a really good break from Luton Town initially. Carlton Morris picks it up on the left-hand side, and Amari Bell, who played it out to him, continued his pass. He followed it and made a really good underlapping run. I was thinking Morris might just slip it through to him. He decided to continue Morris towards the byline, and as he chipped the cross in, I was thinking it's a great delivery, but they need Morris in there. But Harry Cornick was the one who leapt up high. It really is a good flick-on header towards the far post, and Amos just watched it go across his goal. It looked like it might be heading wide at first, but just goes in off the post. Really good header from Harry Cornick, and Luton equalising at a vital moment in this game.
Well, arguably they could have gone 2 down, couldn't they? Because a half chance for Fletcher, well saved by Horvath, and they did look at 6s and 7s a little bit when Bree lost possession, but good breakout down the left-hand side, and Harry Cornick finishing it off. And in terms of sort of balance of play, if you like, 1-1 is probably about right, but Wigan will be disappointed having got so far to concede in added time. Luton will feel that all their pressure has paid off, although that's the first real effort on goal they've had. Cornick went close, didn't he, on 36 minutes with that one just wide, but Amos hasn't really had a save to make, and still hasn't, because he had to just watch that one go in.
Yeah, they had to keep out a really tame Morris header after about 10 minutes, but he could have thrown his cap on that, and they haven't really tested the Wigan goal enough. The one thing I would say going into half-time, it has been pretty evenly matched between Luton and Wigan. Wigan trying to make this game as physical as possible, and at times Luton being outforced a little bit at times, but I think the difference between the two sides is that you feel Luton can step it up a gear or two in the second half, whereas I'm not too sure Wigan quite had the capabilities of doing that. So Luton have equalised at a really good time just before half-time. That should spur them on for the second 45.
And good for Harry Cornick as well, just to get the boost of that goal. You've got Morris on 10. Adi Bayo's not been amongst the goals as often as he was last season, but he's still bagged 3, and 1 or 2 others. There's a few 2s and 1s here and there, lots of people contributing, and it'll be very welcome for him just to get off the mark. He hasn't had too many starts, admittedly, but nonetheless, and it was just a deft little flick, wasn't it, just to get on the end of that cross from Carlton Morris, as you say, sat it up nicely, thinking, who's going to get there, and he just got up, didn't he, and just glanced it across the face of goal, and it just rolled in.
Yeah, it was a really good header from Harry Cornick. Not exactly his trademark finish, but it was really well taken. It was a culmination of players as well inside the penalty area, so he did really well to get up higher than anyone else, make contact, and then put it into the perfect position, flicks it across goal, in off the post. It really is a perfect header, and because the cross was chipped in, there wasn't much pace on it, so he had to kind of generate the pace himself, Cornick. So it's a difficult but really well taken header from him.
So half-time, it's 1 apiece here at Kenilworth Road. We've got full second half commentary to come, digital radio, Freeview channel 720, BBC Sport website as well. We're with you through until 8 o'clock, hopefully with some reaction to this game before we finish at 8 o'clock. But as we hand you back to Ollie in the studio, we'll hear from Boreham Wood boss Luke Garrard, as I mentioned, round up some of the other news of the day as well. But half-time here at Kenilworth Road, Naylor for Wigan on 16 minutes, Cornick for Luton in first half stoppage time. Half-time here in this FA Cup third round tie. It's Luton 1, Wigan 1.
Every Monday and Friday evening from 6 on BBC Three Counties Radio. Babs Michelle.
Have you been out, Christopher?
No, I haven't. I actually haven't. I went to bed.
Really?
Do you know what I've got, Babs? This is so exciting.
Go on.
I've got new bedding.
Babs Michelle.
Chris, how old are you?
I am 26, Babs.
Every Monday and Friday evening from 6.
Is new bedding for 26-year-olds? Is it like the new going out? Are all 26-year-olds?
What, you think it's a euphemism? Yeah.
I don't know. I'm asking.
Babs Michelle.
Moving swiftly on.
Very comfortable.
Is it? I don't know what we're talking about anymore.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, Three Counties Radio is where you are on digital radio, on Freeview and online, listening to coverage of Luton against Wigan Athletic. At half-time, it's Luton 1, Wigan Athletic 1. My thanks to Simon Oxley, Sam Avery for that first half from Kenilworth Road. I'm Ollie Bayliss. We'll be back to Kenilworth Road in good time for the second half of that FA Cup third round fixture. In case you missed it, some early results from the FA Cup. Southampton going through 2-1 against Crystal Palace. Leicester Leicester City beating Gillingham by a goal to 0. Preston North End beat Huddersfield Town by 3 goals to 1. Watford knocked out 2-0 against Reading. We're going to hear from Watford coach Slaven Bilic very shortly. Tottenham beat Portsmouth by a goal to 0. Blackpool 4, Nottingham Forest 1. Boreham Wood drew 1-1 against Accrington Stanley. AFC Bournemouth beaten 4-2 by Burnley. Chesterfield 3, West Brom 3, Fleetwood 2, QPR 1, Fulham 1-2 away against Hull City. Ipswich Town 1-4-1 against Rotherham United. Brighton and Hove Albion 1-5-1 away against Middlesbrough. Sheffield United 1-2 away against Millwall. Sunderland 1-2-1 away against Shrewsbury. And half-time scorelines in those 5:30 kickoffs. Brentford 0, West Ham 0, all Premier League affair, that one. Wrexham currently 3-1 up away against Coventry City. Grimsby 0, Burton Albion 0, and as we've been hearing, of course, Luton Town 1, Wigan Athletic 1. Newcastle currently drawing 0-0 away against Sheffield Wednesday. That game about 22 minutes old. So Boreham Wood, one of the stories of the day, one of 3 non-league sides left in the competition. They forced a equaliser and a draw against Accrington Stanley. At full time, Paul Dixon spoke to Wood manager Luke Garrod.
Luke, you're in the 4th round draw, 2nd year in succession. Not quite how maybe you'd have wanted it, but for a National League side, that is quite the achievement.
I think so. I still think after going down 1-0 after 6 to 8 minutes and to react in the manner in which we did, it could have come on top. That wasn't the case. We managed the game because I felt that they had the ascendancy first half, and they were the team that played the conditions really well because it was windy and rainy, and I felt second half. I said to the group at half time, it's a 50-minute game, lads. It's your 50-minute cup run. That's all it was. Go and win the second half, and I felt we did that.
First half, just not quite at it.
Nowhere near it. Nowhere near it. You're listening to me in terms of all my interviews, and I get good praise because I genuinely think I say it how I see it. Too deep as a unit at the back, too far off on seconds, weren't a good enough platform in the forward units. I felt that second half we were higher up. Yes, the conditions played a massive part because you can't get out when the wind's blowing that high, but we got the ball down, started to play a little bit more, going into the wide areas, which we're very good at, started to get good crosses and good bodies into the box. We'll watch it back. There's things that we need to improve on. The big thing, we work on set plays, and they score from a set play. We've got to be better at backing in and not allowing the people to get a run on us. But how can I grumble? We're in the 4th round. You said it. I've got to be honest with you. We're not in there as a singular ball, don't get me wrong, but I'll still watch the draw on Monday evening with my 2 beautiful kids and my gorgeous wife, knowing that we're in the 4th round. And everyone loves a try, right? God loves a try. And if we pluck an Arsenal or a Chelsea or a Man United away, then that'll be some doing.
Sure, you wouldn't have minded if it gone off someone backside for the equaliser, but actually it was a nice goal, wasn't it?
Yeah, we played a short free kick. How bad were our free kicks first half? I've got to be honest with you, I was losing my head, and I said we work on so many free kicks, and I sat down, I said to my goalkeeping coach at the break at half time on the dugout, and I said, I confuse things too much. Because in my head it's so clear, and that's not coaching, that's not managing. Managing's getting that message across and being very simple with your message. I confuse things, so I just said get the ball in the box, which they didn't do, and they played short, and then we crossed the ball and we got a goal. But Leanne Love, great header, superb off the surface. My chairman spoke to me this morning, had a 20-minute conversation with him on the phone, and he said, go and give the town a moment. Whatever it looks like, however you do, you've done fantastic. Go and give the town a moment. We did.
We now got a chance for another moment, or maybe more. You've beaten Bristol Rovers, you've beaten Bournemouth away from home in this competition. You must be confident of adding Accrington to that list.
Of course. Listen, on reflection today, do I think that they played to their maximum? I think in spells in the first half. Do I think that we did? I think in spells in the second half. Conditions are horrible. I quite like that in a cup affair. I quite like the fact that it is blowing a gale and there is rain, but for me, we got to go there with loads of confidence. We have to, because that's what we are. We're going there as an underdog. Everyone loves an underdog, and that's the aim on 10 days' time from now to go and achieve the unthinkable and get in the 4th round.
Just finally, for me, you mentioned that draw. If it is an Arsenal or someone, you want to get in the 4th round anyway, but it will provide just that little bit extra, won't it?
Yeah, listen, I think it does. There's an incentive for the players. I'm Arsenal mad. I'm a North London boy. If we pluck Arsenal, it'd be outstanding, but again, anyone in that top 5 would be colossal. But the job's not done. We've got to focus on Notts County, then focus back on Accrington to ensure that yeah, we are in the hat as that individual team.
Boreham Wood manager Luke Garrard then speaking after their 1-1 draw against Accrington Stanley. That game will go to a replay, which means the Wood will be in the 4th round draw. That draw, incidentally, just after 4 o'clock tomorrow on Sunday on BBC One. That draw. Boreham Wood are in the hat. Unfortunately, from a local point of view, Watford are not. They were beaten 2-0 in the early kick-off away against Reading. Full-time, Slaven Bilic spoke to Jeff Doyle.
Slav, you ended that game with so many youngsters and they put in a real good shift, didn't they?
Yeah. That's. I mean, you are never happy after a defeat, especially in the FA Cup, which means you're out. But considering everything and considering, not some of the players, but more than a few of the players who finished the game, they didn't even train with us up until last couple of trainings, So it's not only a good learning process for them, but it's like they showed they gave everything, They showed the strength, they showed the ambition, they showed the character. So it's very, very good for them, and of course, consequently, also for Watford's future. Not maybe now, but some of them make a really good impact.
I think that's why the Watford fans appreciated it.
Yeah.
The sliding tackles and bursting, big tackles.
The fans recognized the situation, and they didn't ask from our team today to show great quality in passing, great in that. They asked for effort, and that's why they praised their performances.
I suppose the goal right at the end of that first half was a real killer, wasn't it?
Goal is a strange one. Bit unlucky one, but also a bit of mistake, and it was a blow to go 1-0 down after that, and in that way. But then again, we showed in the second half that even with this team, we can stay in a game, and that we can have also a couple of chances to equalise.
I know it was the FA Cup and he won't get as much time on the ball in the Championship, but Ismail Kone looked very good.
Yeah, but it was against the Championship side, so you are expecting quite similar in a Championship. And he showed, it was his first game for us. First game ever in a different jersey than the home one, which is another continent, and it was really good, He put a smile on my face, and the way he plays, the way it's something about his presence. He wants to take responsibility. He's not hiding on a pitch. He's good on a ball, really good distributor. He's very aggressive when the opponent is close to him, with a little bit of tactical and position that he's going to learn in the future. He's going to have. He showed me that we can count on him, and that he can make a difference and be useful for us straight away, and that's a big plus for us.
You're going to need him because Bakuna, another hamstring. I mean, what is going on?
This is worrying situation. I don't know how the player came on, and after 10 minutes,
5
minutes, you get injured. It's we can't say it's unlucky. That ain't gonna take us anywhere. So it's worrying, and we already have few meetings about that. We have to do something about it.
Next up is 2 Championship games at home. How many of those injured players might you get available? Just maybe Chowdhury, do you think?
If we should have few of them. There were some players that we also rested today, but a few of them should be back.
Slaven Bilic, the Watford manager, talking after their 2-0 defeat against Reading, then in the early kick-off in the FA Cup third round. Boreham Wood will go to replay after they drew 1-1 against Accrington Stanley. What about Luton Town? Well, at half-time, it's Luton Town 1, Wigan Athletic 1. Let's join Simon Oxley and Sam Avery for the second half of that game then, live from Kenilworth Road.
Sports.
Mike Live.
Thanks, Ollie. Welcome back to Kenilworth Road. Luton Town 1, Wigan Athletic 1 going into the second half. Tom Naylor's opener for the visitors, counted out by a header from Harry Cornick right at the end of the first half. And there are a couple of changes at half-time for Luton Town. Luke Berry and Elijah Adebayo on for Alan Campbell. And is that Carlton Morris as well?
Yeah.
So change in midfield and a change up front for the Hatters, which was probably preempted, I'd have thought, going into the second half. Luke Berry, another player who hasn't seen too much football this season because of injury. He's managed a couple of league goals this season though, both in October. And Elijah Adebayo, another player who is probably in need of a goal. He's currently 10 games without a goal. So interesting changes going into the second half for the Hatters, and doesn't look like Wigan have made any changes going into the second 45. This game, they're for the taking for both teams. 1-1, evenly poised.
Yeah, it is. And as you say, one would assume that those decisions were made ahead of the game. It was a case of saying as I said to you at the start, a bit surprising maybe that Morris was picked because he's such an important player, leading goal scorer, but he's done 45, Adebayo does 45, Cornick plays the whole game potentially. So I guess it makes sense. And likewise, Luke Berry, Alan Campbell's been running his socks off for the last few weeks, so he deserves a breather. Had 45 minutes, gets a breather. Luke Berry needs a run out, and we'll get one now with 45 minutes.
So Luke Berry now on the pitch, and they're just making that second change now. So Elijah Adebayo enters the field, and indeed Wigan are as they were in the first 45. We'll run you through the two teams shortly. Wigan will get us underway for the second half. They'll be kicking from right to left towards their away supporters, away to our left-hand side. It is Tom Naylor who opened the scoring for them, who gets the second half underway, smashed forward by Jack Watmore. Wigan in their blue shirts, blue shorts and white socks with the white sleeves on the shirts as well. Luton in their orange shirts, navy shorts and orange socks, as Woodrow plays a ball over the halfway line. It's looping and headed away by Jack Watmore. So Wigan, as they were in the first half, so with Amos in goal, back three of Tilt, Watmore and Edmonds Green, McLean left wing back, Niambi right wing back, Naylor and Cousins in midfield, with Power just behind the front two of Ashley Fletcher and Callum Lang. And Fletcher's picked up the ball here on the right hand side for Wigan, right corner of the penalty area, ball in towards Lang, who's turned it towards goal but just wide. And Horvath was happy to see it behind his post. It went probably a couple of yards wide of his right post in the end, but decent ball in from Fletcher, and Lang just with his right foot outstretched to trying to divert it towards goal and wide.
A suspicion of offside, and he sort of looked across Fletcher, but then he was off and away down the right hand side, and Lang will be disappointed there. He's not hit the target. I think Horvath, as that comes in, is expecting to have to make a save. If he connects with that properly, he should hit the target, Lang. It's a bit of a let off there for Luton.
So Luton in the second half, having made two changes, with Horvath in goal, back three of Potts, Burke and Osho, Bell left wing back, Bree right wing back, Watson and Berry in midfield, with a front three, Woodrow playing just behind Cornick and Adebayo. Wigan have a throw deep inside their own half on the right, thrown up the line in front of the technical area of Rob Edwards, and then nodded out of play for another Wigan throw, this time on the halfway line, just making their way up the white touchline, and referee David Webb making sure they take it a few yards back from where they wanted to, so just inside their own half on the right. Up the line from Niambe, looking for Fletcher, header won by Bell. It's poked back towards Watson. Watson trying to turn on the far side in front of the Wigan technical area. He's done well to find Adebayo. Was caught off the ball there, Watson, but it wasn't spotted by the referee. Wigan have won it back through Power, who helps it wide to Niambe. Down the line from him, it's deflected out of play for a throw to Wigan, and again making their way up that right hand side. This time a throw about 15 yards inside the Hatters half, which Niambe will take again. Throws into Power, back to Niambe, who evades Watson, who just caught him there and may have picked up a little injury himself there, Watson, in making the challenge. But it's a Wigan free kick over on the right hand side. Watson's just gone down again. He's in trouble here, Louis Watson. Well, I think he picked up an injury from that initial challenge as well.
And I think that was trying to get exact retribution, to be perfectly honest. He's come off second best, come off worst from making that foul, Louis Watson. That was a lesson learned there. But he's looking as though he's going to be able to carry on.
Just 21 years of age, Louis Watson, signing from Derby, the Irish midfielder. He's just hobbles back up onto his feet, and he's the sole man in what is a one-man wall for this free kick. from the right-hand side. In it goes from Max Power, flicked on by Naylor, and it hit Amari Bell. Handball claims waved away, and the second attempted cross hits Bell again, goes onto the roof of the stand away to our left, and behind for a Wigan corner.
Well, I think it did hit his arm, but there was nothing he could do about it because it was flicked off a Wigan player and just hit his arm, which was down by his side, so probably the right decision.
Now cries of handball from behind us, from the Hatters supporters mocking the visiting fans. In goes the corner from McLean, flick towards goal, it's blocked and breaks here for Power to strike. That's well blocked as well, as Nyambe picks up the loose ball, and his ball out wide is a poor one. Wasn't on the same wavelength at all as that Power, and it's McLean, sorry, and it's gone out of play for a throw.
Bright start there from Wigan at the start of this second period. 4 minutes in? Luton haven't really put anything of note together in the opposition half anyway, having to defend for the most part. Start of this second period.
It's a Wigan throw on the halfway line. They can't really get out their own half at the moment, the Hatters. Wigan have got another throw after Luton tried to play their way out over on the far side, in front of the Wigan technical area, occupied by Kolo Toure, the former Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool and Celtic defender, now manager of Wigan, as Adebayo tried to pick up the loose ball, but Edmonds Green across to clear. It goes over the stand on the far side, and Luton have a throw, which is taken quickly, thrown up to Adebayo, who went down, wanted a free kick, but nothing was given, and then that's a loose ball that time from Naylor. Christian header back from Bree to Burke. Burke plays over the halfway line to Bree on this near side, plays down the right touchline to Berry, turns away from Tilt and then finds Cornick, back from him to Bree. Adebayo's in the centre, and then Watson's trying to ball round the corner, which evaded Berry, and now Wigan try and come forward, but that's intercepted by Burke. The attempted ball over the top from Naylor, and Luton have a little bit more space to work with because some of the blue shirts had flooded forward. Now Amari Bell on the left hand side, driving infield. He's got an option out to the left and utilises Potts as well. Now Bell into the box and finds Cauley Woodrow, took it on the turn. Might be a chance for corner because it ricocheted towards him, but it was gathered by Ben Amos in the Wigan goal, and you can't miss the Wigan goalkeeper. He's in luminescent green this evening, and gathered at the feet of Cornick. Seemed like a half chance for Luton. A couple of ricochets inside the box, just wouldn't quite fall for Harry Cornick.
I think Berry was hoping that Woodrow was going to square it to him, but he went for the shot, didn't he, initially?
Approaching 51 minutes, FA Cup third round action for the Hatters on BBC Sport, BBC Three Counties Radio, on DAB, and also BBC Sports Online as well. You can also listen on the BBC Sounds app as well if you head to Three Counties Radio. And you can follow this game wherever you are. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Both sides who managed to get past the third round last season. Wigan made it to round 4. Luton went one better, going to round 5. Luton unbeaten at home since their league defeat to Wigan in September. As Watson controls, just about kept possession away from Fletcher, and then helps it wide to Bree. Bree back to Burke. First time ball lofted up to Cornick. Lovely chest down towards Berry, and Cornick actually kept possession himself and finds Bree. Bree right hand side outside the penalty area, gets across in towards the far post, and it's going to fall here for Woodrow, who tees up Amari Bell. He's completely miscued it, and it's gone behind for a goal kick. Better from Luton.
Yeah, nice move down the right hand side. Decent cross as well from Bree, just above over Adebayo, but Woodrow was there at the back post. I thought he might take it first time, Woodrow, but on this occasion he did try and tee it up for somebody else, and as you said, Amari Bell couldn't really get the shot away. Well, he got the shot away, but scuffed it really. Didn't really time it right, and it went well wide.
Amos clears for Wigan. Up jumps Amari Bell, it goes over his head and straight out of play for a throw to Luton midway through their own half. Chance of we've got Super Robbie Edwards. Well, he hasn't been here long, but he's already on Hatters fans' side. As Amari Bell heads inside towards Berry, picked up here by Cornick, who sets back towards Watson. Loose first touch, but just did enough on the stretch to find Bree after a ricochet from off of Lang. Now Rhys Burke on the right hand side, just inside the Wigan half, turns his man, does well Rhys Burke. McLean made the challenge, but Burke keeps hold of the ball and then set it back to Bree. It was a little bit loose though, and now Wigan can try and come forward with Jordan Cousins, and Bree's pulled up here. Play continues. as Ethan Horvath was just watching inside his penalty area under pressure from Fletcher and quickly bowled it out to Bell. Meanwhile, James Bree is still struggling, back up on his feet now, but hunched over as Adebayo plays back to Potts. Luton won't put the ball out of play. I don't think they've actually seen that Bree's struggling, but he will continue, James Bree, as Reece Burke picks up the ball on the right, down the line to Berry into Cornick out to Bree, and a ball down the line from him comes off the head of Tilt.
He seems alright, doesn't he? I thought he was just trying to win it back, I think, when he and Burke sort of lost it between them. Thought, as you say, I thought it looked like he'd pulled up with a muscle injury, but seems alright at the minute.
I wonder whether he was just winded maybe when he got caught by one of the Wigan players. He's holding his face, so maybe he got caught in the face. Then goes the cross from Luton, headed away to James Bree. He's got space on the right side of the area, smashes back across the face of goal, and it's turned away by Tom Naylor. Reece Burke will pick up the loose ball on the right hand side, just inside the Hatters half. 54 minutes played, Luton 1, Wigan 1 in the FA Cup third round. Horvath wide to Reece Burke inside the Hatters half still. Turns on the ball, he's not got too many options, has to play back to Gabe Osho. Osho forward to Watson under pressure from Cousins, who suddenly gets into a sprint to close down Osho, who plays back to Horvath. Horvath into Watson, wide from him to Dan Potts, who's got a little bit more space to work with. Forward ball up the line, inside to Watson. Still inside the Luton half here, Louis Watson, across from him to Osho. Very patient in their build-up here, and now Bell can turn in midfield, helps it wide to the left, down the line again to Amari Bell from Cauley Woodrow. Bell turning away from his man, finding Woodrow again. Woodrow got the turn in possession, but forced pressure from Nyambe and then run out of room on the far side and gives away a throw.
Yeah, a bit like it was in the first half, wasn't it? It's patient, but they're not breaking through, are they? Not getting into that final third, really, or not very often into the penalty box.
It seems at times some of the players, certainly in the attacking areas, aren't quite on the same wavelength. And obviously you've seen a lot more of Luton than I have recently, but I've seen some of the highlights, and I watched a little bit of the game that was live recently against QPR, and they really do play some really neat one-touch stuff in and around the penalty area at times. But I suppose if they're not quite on the same wavelength, it just can't happen for them.
Two changes, I guess, as well today, with Woodrow's not been a starter since September, and Cornick as well.
Osho plays over the halfway line to Bell, who's again taken up a bit of a more central position, still out on that left-hand side, but not hugging the touchline, as it were. Now Berry, back from him to Woodrow, who's forayed in field from the left. James Bree now 5 yards outside the penalty area, waits for the overlapping run from Burke down the right, and Burke continues his run. He gets to the byline. Tilt comes back with a challenge and just puts it behind for a corner. Reece Burke did really well there. He fakes the cross, which meant that Tilt was a little bit off balance, but he did well to get back and make the challenge. Luton corner.
Yeah, did well. Good overlap from Reece Burke down that right hand side. Again, had a muscle injury at Hull, but is testing it with these breaks down the right hand side.
So Luton corner, it's going to be right footed out swinging from Bree. It's drifted towards the far post. Keeper thought about coming and didn't, as Watmore flicks his header away, and it's going to be a Luton throw over on the far side, right on top of the corner flag, deep inside the Wigan half. 56.5 minutes gone, still Luton 1, Wigan 1. Naylor's opener for the visitors, cancelled out by Harry Cornick's header just before half time, his first of the season. Harry Cornick. It's going to be a long throw into the area from the aforementioned forward, headed away by Nyambe, and out of play for a corner. Nyambe thought he might have been caught by Reece Burke, but it's Hatter's set piece, another one, this time right footed in swinging from James Bree, which he probably prefers.
Yeah, in front, just under the clock there, over on that far corner. Everybody back for Wigan, aren't they? And pretty much everyone forward for Luton.
One arm in the air from Bree. That's a good delivery, but no one lurking. It was whipped towards the back post, but inside the 6 yard area, but everyone seemed to make a run towards the near post.
They did, including Burke, who's protesting that he was being held, but wouldn't have made an awful lot of difference. I don't think he'd have got to it. He was aimed more towards the back post, and as you say, everyone was at the front, whipped in with some real pace, but nobody able to arrive at the back post to convert it.
Wigan goal kick. You're listening to BBC Three Counties Radio on DAB or BBC Sports Online. You can also listen via the BBC Sounds app as well if you head to BBC Three Counties Radio. As we approach 58 minutes, still Luton 1, Wigan 1 in this FA Cup third round tie. James Bree, crossfield ball is loose behind Bell and goes out of play into the Luton dugout for a Wigan throw.
Yeah, that was again a misplaced one. He's been better this half, hasn't he? But that was back to the first half. Bree, most unlike him. I mean, he's virtually ever present. And back at wing back today as well, when he's been right centre back of late. But hasn't quite got his deliveries 100% spot on by any means.
Well, Luton have started this second half fairly well. They've had a good spell in the last sort of 5 or 10 minutes as Adebayo goes down and wants a free kick, nothing given, and then Berry challenges Nyambe with a slide tackle and then concedes a throw over on the far side.
Seemed to be wrestled to the floor then, I thought, Adebayo, to be honest. Sometimes you think, it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, but I didn't seem too much doubt about that. But referee was in a minority, I think, in the ground in playing on.
Good play behind Berg, has to chase it back towards his penalty area, but picks it up and can now play square to Gabe Osho. Luton looking to build from the back again. That's a good ball from Osho. He's managed to bypass the Wigan front line with that ball. Now Bell on the left-hand side. It's a little bit lucky wire, a deflection from Nyambe. Woodrow goes for goal, opened up his body, and his effort deflected out of play for a corner.
Yeah, those two combining quite nicely on that left-hand side. Amari Bell certainly pushing well forward. And he and Woodrow are combining nicely, and Woodrow just making room for himself, but winning another corner.
Get the feeling it's only a matter of time before Luton find that next goal. In goes the corner from Bree, headed away to the edge of the penalty area. Osho then nods across towards Watson, who left it, and now McLean can clear for Wigan, and that will bounce out of play for a Luton throw just inside their own half on the left. As we clock over the hour mark, Luton aiming for what would only be a second win in 12 meetings with Wigan. Don't have a particularly good record against the Latics, and don't have a good record when conceding in an FA Cup tie either. They haven't won an FA Cup tie they've conceded in since 2016. It's a 6-2 win over Solihull Moors the last time they won an FA Cup tie. They didn't keep a clean sheet in. And of course they'd have to break that run to...
From memory, they were 2-0 down in that game as well, I think.
Looking to come from behind in this one as well, because they were 1-0 down against Wigan, now 1-1. Watson plays back to Osho on the halfway line, inside the centre circle, angled ball over to the left, and Woodrow brings it down and can try and drive in from the left, heads towards the byline, low ball deflected in and diverted over his own crossbar in rather unorthodox fashion by Jack Watmore. It's another Hatters corner, and again from that far side, a right-footed in-swinging delivery it will be from James Bree.
Well, they're really putting the pressure on now, Luton. They're forcing Wigan back, and they've not really threatened on the counter at all, have they, Wigan? And Luton forcing them back, putting balls into the box now. It's a really strong last 10 minutes from the Hatters.
Again, every Wigan player inside their penalty area, and it goes from Bree towards the near post this time. Flicked towards the edge of the 6-yard box. Adebayo trying to keep it alive, and it's cleared away as far as Osho is going to help it wide to Harry Cornick, who chases it towards the right touchline. Cornick back to Amari Bell in front of the halfway line. He has to play back to Horvath under pressure from Callum Lang. Horvath into Watson, takes it on the turn and finds Bell, who's on this right side. Takes it back infield onto his left foot and then plays across to Gabe Osho. Osho sweeps it wide towards the left, approaching 62 minutes at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Rain no longer coming down at Kenilworth Road in Bedfordshire this afternoon. It was pouring at one point in the first half. Luton are going to make a third change very shortly. Here's Adebayo, one of those half-time changes, up against Tilt, who stayed strong. Concedes a throw though. Midway through the Wigan half over on the left-hand side. 62 minutes played. The score's level, and of course if it stays like this at full time, this game will head to a replay at the DW Stadium in a week and a half's time. As Nyambe challenges over on the far side and has won a throw somehow. Wigan throw there midway through their own half on the right, and well, Cornick and Watson couldn't believe it, but Luton are going to make another change here. Looks like Alfie Doughty's going to come on for Reece Burke, which is a fairly attacking move. So James Bree will go into centre half, and Alfie Doughty, who's been electric on the right in recent weeks, is going to go right wing back.
Yeah. It's, I guess, again, a planned one. What have we had? Just over the hour mark. Riesberg only just back from a lengthy injury absence. We played the last 20 minutes or so at Huddersfield, of course, scored the winning goal. So perhaps not quite ready yet for a full match. And Bree mentioned earlier that he'd been playing right centre half recently. He will just slot in there and Doughty be right side.
Watson trying to drive towards the edge of the Wigan penalty area as Naylor gets across to make the challenge, and it's a throw to Wigan deep inside their own half on the right.
Well, Doughty obviously would prefer to play on the left, but has played on the right-hand side quite a bit of late, given the defensive issues that Luton have had. He's had to slot in where needed. Of course, cut in memorably from the left at Queen's Park Rangers, but started the game there on the right.
Cornick plays wide to Bell in front of the Luton dugouts, flicks it down the line and was caught off the ball there, Bell, and probably fortunate because he'd given it away, but was caught having played the ball, so wins the free kick.
Sitting very deep, Wigan, aren't they? I mean, Luton are forcing them back, but they are sitting very deep now, the visitors.
Well, the problem that Wigan have got is that Fletcher is back defending all these set pieces. Yes. So they've got no outlet, have they?
No, good point. Yeah.
So that's obviously working in Luton's favour as we clock over 64 minutes. Luton 1, Wigan 1, and Alfie Doughty standing over this free kick. It's going to be a left-footed out-swinging delivery from that left touchline, and it goes from Doughty. Good ball as well, looking for Adebayo, helped clear though, and Callum Lang will pick it up on the right for Wigan, deep inside their own half. His clearance is closed down by both Cornick and Watson, and it goes out of play off of the latter and out of play for a Wigan throw deep inside their own half on the right.
Decent delivery from Doughty, and it just got a flick on, didn't it? It sort of hit Adebayo, I think. It's difficult to see from here, it was some distance away, but it seemed he sort of surprised him and he wasn't able to do much with it. It's good stuff from Luton. Just perhaps need to create a little bit more. They've not worked the keeper, have they? They have a little bit, but not for all the pressure and balls across the box.
Here they come, Luton. Bell, heavy touch, and from the byline tries to get the ball in. It may have just crossed the byline. I think it did. It's a goal kick. It took a really heavy touch there, Amari Bell, as he tried to almost knock and run, I suppose, then attack it in at full pace, but just over hit that sort of heavy touch, so it just crossed the byline.
They're dominating possession, aren't they, and territorially as well, but Amos had a save to make. Well, probably one block maybe from Woodrow, or that was blocked by a defender, was it? Woodrow's effort, but
here come Luton again. Cornick looking over the top, and Adebayo gives chase here on the shoulder of Tilt, and he gets there too, but Tilt makes a really important challenge. I'm not actually sure he knew too much about it. Adebayo tried to take it inside of him, and it almost hit his trailing leg, and then ricocheted out of play for a throw to Luton. Deep inside the Wigan half on the right. 66 minutes gone. Harry Cornick's going to take another long throw deep inside the Wigan half. Luton really applying the pressure here in this second half, and it goes from Cornick, headed away though by McLean. Bree then nods down towards Watson, takes it on the turn and plays back to Osho inside the centre circle, helps it wide for Doughty. Good first touch from Doughty, driving forward now to the edge of the penalty area, steps towards the byline, gets the cross in, chipped towards the back post. It's going to find Corley Woodrow, strikes towards goal, deflected and wide for another Luton Town corner.
That's good play from Doughty down the right hand side, because you're expecting him all the time as a defender. You'd think, well, he's going to come back onto his left foot. He hasn't got a right foot, and he didn't. He went on the outside, got the cross in, and Woodrow wins the corner, which they played short.
Played to the edge of the penalty area. Watson takes it onto his left, driving towards the byline. His cross is deflected, and it's another Luton Town corner. 5,660 inside Kenilworth Road this evening, with just under 300 of those coming from Lancashire, visiting supporters from Wigan. Bree standing over this next set piece, another Luton corner, plenty of movement in the centre, and it goes from Bree, looking for Adebayo, headed away from in front of goal, out to Watson, who heads it wide but didn't get enough on the header, and it deflects out of play off of Lang, who got across for Wigan, out of play for a Luton Town throw. James Bree will take it. Woodrow heading towards the corner flag, trying to keep on his toes. James Bree is going to leave this for Amari Bell this time. It's a good time to hand you over to Simon Oxley, who will take you to full time.
Well, Luton putting the pressure on here. getting the crosses in as well. No Morris to get on the end of them, of course, having been replaced at half-time by Adebayo, but there's still plenty of players who you'd fancy to get the finishing touch. Luke Berry can burst forward from midfield. Woodrow's in there as well, of course, Cornick and Adebayo, but it remains one apiece. Wigan keeping Luton at bay so far in this second period. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Three Counties Sport this Saturday evening. Digital radio, Freeview Channel 720. BBC Sport Online as well. Very good evening to you, wherever you're listening. One apiece in this FA Cup third round tie. Already today, defeat for Watford, a draw for Boreham Wood, Stevenage at Aston Villa tomorrow afternoon, of course. And nicely poised here, one apiece, but Luton really piling on the pressure. Although Ben Amos hasn't had, lots of saves to make, but it's certainly been Luton doing all the attacking, and they're coming forward again now with Osho up towards the halfway line. Out to the right-hand side to Alfie Doughty. Doughty coming forward. Bree in support behind him, but Doughty will cut back onto his left foot. Drifts it into the back post. Players arriving, headed clear. Comes out to Woodrow. Woodrow drives it in. Is blocked by Nyambe. Spins off the Namibian, who's taken a blow there from blocking that effort from Woodrow, and just may require a little bit of time to get his breath back. It was a nice ball drifted in by Doughty, just too high, but Berry leapt up to try and get something on it, and Adebayo was in there as well. He's back up on his feet, Nyambe, and it's a throw to Luton, taken back to Potts, who lays it off Woodrow inside to Louis Watson. Watson back again to Woodrow, who swings in another cross, headed away again by the Wigan defence. Luton have it back once more. Potts playing it forward to Cornick. Cornick left edge of the penalty area, back to Bell. Bell swings in the cross, headed away by Watmore once again to Fletcher, who holds it up, and Wigan play it forward towards Lang down that right hand side, but too far away from the striker there. Really surviving on bits and pieces, the front two, aren't they, in terms of balls forward, and back come Luton again. Wigan not really offering much at all going forward in this second half. Luton have a throw, do they? No, Luke Berry bundled over there. Thought he should have had a throw or a free kick, but in the end it's a throw to Wigan, level with the edge of their own penalty area. Opportunity just to take a bit of pressure off that back three. Watmore's seems to have been heading balls away all second half.
They're very camped in, aren't they, Wigan? They're quite happy to allow Luton to come onto them. They put them under a bit of pressure in possession, but not really until they venture into the Wigan half. And as you say, Simon, they're sat so deep, but I mean, they've conceded a lot of goals recently in the final 15 minutes of games. I think they've conceded 6 goals in the last 15 minutes of each of the last 3 games. And you can probably see why, because if they keep camping like this in the last 3 games, then there's no wonder they've conceded so many goals late on.
McLean to take the throw, middle inside his own half, down the line it goes, headed away by Doughty, comes to Corley Woodrow, runs away from him, comes to Adebayo. Adebayo trying to cut inside, still Adebayo up towards the edge of the penalty area, trying to flick it forward, but Tom Naylor across there to clear. Luton throw far side, Amari Bell takes it quickly back to Watson, to Amari Bell, midway inside the Wigan half, left hand side for Luton as they attack the Kenilworth end in this second half. Here's Dan Potts, Potts across to Osho, Osho inside his own half. Rare touches for Luton inside their own half in this second period. Osho playing it forward to Woodrow, Woodrow cutting inside from deep and then whips it into the box towards Berry, who can't quite control it, and it goes beyond everybody and out of play for a goal kick for Wigan. Wigan player down injured inside the penalty area, and Luton are going to make another change. Harry Cornick making way for Cameron Jerome. Cornick, who's netted his first of the season this evening. That little flick header from Morris's cross in first half stoppage time. Equaliser for Luton after Naylor's opening goal on 16 minutes for Wigan. And Wigan player down injured inside his own penalty area. And Luton have made the change though. It'll be Jerome and Adebayo up front, with Corley Woodrow just behind, and Luke Berry's in there as well. And injury to, is that Tilt who's gone down injured, I think, inside the penalty area. And both sets of players taking an opportunity to get some refreshment on board. Don't forget then tomorrow, Stevenage at Aston Villa, 4:30 kickoff, 95.5, 103.8 FM and BBC Sport Online once again. And then next Saturday we're back with you 2 until 6, 3 o'clock kickoffs for Watford, Luton, Wycombe, MK Dons and Stevenage. Luton here against West Brom on digital radio and Freeview Channel 720. As I mentioned earlier, West Brom, a 3-3 draw for them today at National League Chesterfield. At the moment, we're 17 minutes plus added time away from a replay in the northwest. As Boreham Wood managed earlier on, 1 apiece for them against Accrington. They'll replay up in Lancashire. Either be a Tuesday or a Wednesday evening, I would imagine, as it probably would be with this game. But still a little way to go, and I can't imagine either side would be too chuffed about a replay, to be perfectly honest. Enjoying the sort of January spell where there are breaks in the relentless Championship schedule. Another change for, well, in fact, a first change, isn't it, for Wigan? Ashley Fletcher coming off. Will Keane, their leading scorers, coming on. Normally a starter, but on the bench today. 9 goals so far this season. He's going to come on. And of course, what it would mean if it was a replay is that it would be only a few days before the league meeting in a fortnight's time.
Looks like Thelo Asgard's going to come on as well for Wigan, which is going to strike horrible deja vu.
Well, indeed so. Indeed so. Yep, on he comes to replace Cousins, I think. Yep.
Substitution for Wigan, replacing number 6.
Yeah, Jordan Cousins going off. Well, I think that's on balance more attacking than defensive, actually, isn't it? Asgard and Keane coming on. Asgard, who scored that cracking goal, actually, in fairness. The winner here back in September. He's on, as is Will Keane. Fletcher and Cousins off. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Luton with Jerome now on as well, and Wigan coming forward. Louis Watson gets a foot to it. It should go through to Horvath, who clears upfield towards Jerome, in fact, and just shepherded out of play by McLean on this near side. 75 minutes gone at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, Wigan 1 on BBC Three Counties Radio. And here's Keane, first touch for him, back to McLean, who plays it forward for Asgard to chase after. Bree's with him, and Bree will just shepherd it out of play, although I think the Norwegian just got his foot to it there to flick it out of play, so it'll be a Luton throw rather than a goal kick. Yeah, Luton throw down by the corner flag, although referee has just called a halt because Louis Watson has gone down with what looks like a touch of cramp. Cauley Woodrow is playing physio, just giving some treatment to his young teammate. Although it may be that he's coming off anyway, Louis Watson, because that may be Paddy Ruddock getting ready over on the far side. In fact, the referee has, I think, spotted that and is waving Watson off towards the touchline. Good performance from Watson, certainly started very brightly and has continued that. And he's going to make way.
Yeah, he looks really relaxed in possession, Watson. There's been a number of times in this game where he's been put under pressure and you expect him to lose it, but he's done really well to keep hold of the ball. And for somebody who's just 21 years of age and hasn't played loads of football, you compare him to maybe other 21-year-olds for both Derby and Luton. He looks so calm and composed in his midfield areas. Really good vision as well. He's picked out some really nice passes in this game.
Another change for Wigan as well. They're going to bring on Charlie Hughes to replace Curtis Tilt at the back. Tilt, who was down injured, wasn't he, a moment ago? So a little bit of a break in proceedings, really. Luton have got a good head of steam up there, hadn't they, last 10-15 minutes or so, but number of substitutions, or 3 for Wigan and Jerome, and 2 for Luton, so that quintet of substitutions has taken about the best part of 2 or 3 minutes, so there'll be a little bit of time for referee David Webb to add on. And finally we're back underway once again with James Bree throw, and then he clears the ball upfield, flicked on by Ruddock, headed out of play by Charlie Hughes, who's come on at centre half, I think, or possibly
I think he's a left-sided centre back.
Yeah. For Wigan.
Just looks lopsided at the moment because Luton have a throw on the near side, so he's right out on this left touch line.
Here's Jerome now coming forward down the right hand side and keeps it in. Actually, it rolled along the line and Jerome tried to flick it through into the path of Adebayo, but defender back there to clear up towards Keane, who tries to flick it on, but Potts is there to tidy up for Luton. Back to Horvath, who's closed down by Lang, and Horvath making a bit of a mistake and then bundled to the ground by Lang as Lang rolls it in from a tight angle, but the referee's whistle had long since gone. But a little bit of relief there for Ethan Horvath, who just played himself into a little bit of trouble, but in the end Callum Lang had to bundle him out of the way before rolling it in quite nicely from a tight angle. But as I say, the referee had long since blown for a foul.
Yeah, very fortunate, Ethan Horvath. It was a definite free kick. He's not fortunate the referee gave it, but in terms of how he put himself under pressure, fortunate that Lang did foul him, which almost gave him a get out really, because I don't think he cleared it particularly well either.
Clears better this time over the halfway line towards Luke Berry, who's beaten in the air by the sub Hughes, towards Keane, who challenged from Hughes' clearance, but he'd come from an offside position to do so. So it'll be a Luton free kick, which they've taken quickly. Osho rolls it in short to Pelly Ruddock. Ruddock inside his own half. Back now to Dan Potts. Potts, as Luton look to gather that momentum once again, just get back on the front foot. Here's Ruddock once again. Ruddock plays it back to Osho. 12 minutes to go plus added time. Osho forward towards Luke Berry, who takes a touch. Still Berry. Flicks it out to the right-hand side to Doughty. Doughty cuts back inside onto his left foot, then clips it across nicely for Woodrow. Woodrow, left edge of the penalty area, back to Dan Potts. Potts doesn't take the cross on first time. Plays it short to Gabe Osho. Osho to Ruddock. Ruddock coming forward on his right foot, plays the ball forward, not the best of passes, but it takes a deflection, finds Doughty, who now finds Bree. Bree swings across into the back post, but too close to Amos. Comfortable catch for the Wigan goalkeeper, and he will just hold on to it, Amos, and just allow his teammates to move forward a little bit before he clears this ball upfield. Luton 1, Wigan 1. 10 minutes to go plus added time. Amos slips as he clears the ball upfield, and then it's flicked on by Nyambe and out of play for a Luton throw back inside their own half. Luton need to get that momentum going again, and substitutions can sometimes break up your momentum as well as the opposition's. And Luton, having the stoppages for Wigan's changes, have made two of their own, and all of a sudden it's not got that pace about it, but now it perhaps has, as Woodrow plays it forward to Amari Bell. Bell cuts inside, edge of the penalty area, plays it in towards Jerome. Jerome searching forward inside the box, but heavy touch and it rolls out of play, and it'll be a goal kick.
Yeah, it looked a real chance initially for Cameron Jerome, and it was just that heavy touch that took him not only towards the byline, but because it was a heavy touch as well, he'd have done well to actually keep it in play. And probably wasn't the touch he was after, and he was under pressure, Cameron Jerome, but that initial ball to him was really good. It looks like Elijah Adebayo is targeting the right side of, Wigan's left side of their defence, yes. The right side of Luton's attack, and it's interesting, he's between 19-year-old Charlie Hughes and then McLean, the left wing back, and get the feeling that if they can get a decent delivery into him, he might get a bit of joy between those two. Yeah,
you'd think he'd have the height, well, certainly the height advantage, absolutely, as well, if they get across in towards that back post. Wigan try to come out of their own half, but it's won back by Amari Bell. Bell down the left-hand side now for Luton, forced out wide. Plays it inside to Jerome. Jerome back to Potts. Potts plays it back to Pelly Ruddock. Ruddock rolls it across to Osho. Patient from Luton. Osho out to the right-hand side to Doughty. Doughty with Bree behind him. Still Doughty. Looking to get to the byline maybe. Flicks it forward in towards Adebayo. Back again towards Doughty. Doughty bursting through inside the box is cleared. Comes out to Osho. Osho closed down, but gets it back out to the right-hand side to Bree, in towards Adebayo once again, who slips, picks himself up, back in possession. Adebayo trying to find a way through inside the penalty area, but dispossessed. Wigan looking to clear, but Bree closing them down, and then Doughty wins it back again. Doughty plays it into the edge of the box to Berry. Berry back to James Bree. Bree back again to Doughty. Doughty will try to get to the byline, will he? No, swings it in left-footed into the back post towards Woodrow, who tries to bring it under control. It was beyond Jerome, and Woodrow couldn't bring it under control and out of play. And Wigan have done well. They're forcing Luton out wide and say, OK, then get the crosses in, and we'll back ourselves to head them away when they do come in.
Yeah, and so far they are. And that cross from Doughty was overhit towards the left side of the box, very deep. Woodrow was unmarked, but it sort of went over his shoulder. It was going to be very difficult for him to actually bring it down. It was a loose touch which went out of play for a throw. If they're going to do that, Luton, if they're going to get the ball wide and get crosses into the box, which, as you say, they're being forced into doing, it's got to be a good delivery every single time, and there haven't been enough deliveries that have been right on the money in this game from Luton.
Just fizzled out a little bit, hasn't it? A great spell midway through the half of corners and free kicks and lots of pressure, and Wigan offering next to nothing, but that sort of momentum has just been lost a little bit, as I mentioned, by substitutions from both sides, but I include Luton in that because they really got ahead of steam up. Watson was sort of key to that. I understand why he's gone off and why Pelly Ruddock's come on, but it just started to click, hadn't it? But I know they've got to make the changes and use the group, and you can make 5 as well from 9 in the FA Cup, of course. At the moment, it's not a grandstand finish, is it? Although we've got 7 minutes to go, plus a fair amount of added time. There must be 5 minutes of added time.
Yeah, you'd have thought so. It's interesting as well because going back to the league meeting between these sides in September, I remember your interview with Nathan Jones. I was having a little read up of the comments on the BBC Sport website, and he mentioned it was the substitutes that let Luton down that day. He said the substitutes come on and have the right
hadn't
impact.
Changed the game yet, and the substitutes for Wigan did.
Yes,
Asgard being the case in point. Not seen much of him as yet, but now Wigan have a throw midway inside the Luton half. Right hand side, Power throws it all the way back to Hughes, but plenty to aim at in the box still if Hughes can swing it in right footed. Comes up to the back post towards Keane. Keane brings it under control, forced to play back to Asgard. Asgard onto his right foot, whips it in straight at Horvath. Oh, deja vu flashed before us once again. Cut inside onto his right foot, exactly what he did back in September, but this time straight at Ethan Horvath rather than into the corner of the net. Berry laying it off for Doughty as Luton look to go back up the other end. But that's an effort on target, and that's more, that's a save from Horvath, which is really more than Amos has had to do. I mean, he's been busy marshalling his defence, but that's an effort on target from Wigan. Here's Bree forward to Doughty down the right hand side. Doughty with Bree on the overlap, still Doughty will now go to the byline, gets across in right footed. It's taken a touch off the arm of a Wigan player outside the penalty area, but the assistant on that near side has spotted an arm in there as it just flicked off the arm of a Wigan defender from Doughty's cross, and referee has given the free kick to Luton, right edge of the penalty area, down by the goal line, so a sort of short corner, if you will.
Yeah, and the linesman did well to spot that as well, because it changed the direction of the cross, so I think he's right to give the free kick. Took a definite nick off the arm of one of the Wigan defenders, and again Doughty has been so good off the bench in this game, down that right hand side, getting a number of crosses into the box, and that was a decent one, headed towards the byline that time. It was interesting because I thought he'd cut in on his left because Bree had made a run towards the byline, and I thought he'd use him as a decoy and come in on his left, but he sort of followed Bree towards the byline to get the cross in.
So here's the free kick for Luton. It'll be Doughty with his left foot or Bree with his right. In swinger from Doughty or out swinger from Bree. I think it's going to be Doughty to take it. Doughty left footed, drives it in towards the near post. Berry threw himself at it, headed back across goal by Jerome, cleared again. Jerome will retrieve it over on that far side and will play it all the way back to Amari Bell. Bell onto his left foot, gets it in towards the edge of the box towards Adebayo, who's got 3 defenders around him. Can Doughty keep it in? He can. Still Doughty tussling for it, but it's cleared up towards the halfway line, but comes straight to Pelly Ruddock. Ruddock drives it across towards Jerome. Nice pass. Jerome lays it off back to Amari Bell. Bell will try and get the cross in, but it's rather lost momentum giving it back to Osho rather than getting the early cross in. Amari Bell. Now Osho drives it forward and he's overhit that Osho, and that's going to sail straight out of play. And again, Bell should have knocked it straight back in.
Well, yeah, because he had a better angle than
Yes,
Osho.
he did,
He played it infield for Osho to send it into the box.
From
the
a much
ball's too
straighter
straight,
position, yeah.
and no one can get on the end of it. And to be honest, it was overhit anyway, even if
Yes,
even
it
if,
was, yeah.
Even if it was a better angle, it would have gone past everyone now to play for a goal kick.
Well, after all that pressure midway through the half, they've not run out of ideas, but not really had the chances. They were dominated in terms of possession. I mean, they've barely crossed the halfway line, Wigan, in this second half, but I repeat, Amos hasn't had an awful lot to do in terms of saves to make. Here come Luton again. Woodrow flicks it forward towards Jerome. It's cleared by Watmore, headed away by Osho back over the halfway line. Woodrow heads it on for Jerome. Jerome left hand side, flicks it inside for Amari Bell, breaking forward. Still Bell, but heavy first touch, and Wigan clear, and a lovely back heel from Keane, but a good interception from Pelly Ruddock. Looked as though Wigan might break there, but here's Woodrow now trying to thread it through for Elijah Adebayo, but just overhit from Woodrow and out of play. 2.5 minutes to go plus added time. Luton trying to find a way through this resolute Wigan defence.
Yeah, it was better from Woodrow that time. Took it on the turn, drove through the midfield. He was under pressure and just tried to poke it through for Adebayo. Just a little bit static on the shoulder of the last player. There's out of play for a goal kick, but attacking in a different way, Luton, that time going through the central areas, and they just need to mix it up a little bit because it's all a bit routine for Wigan at the moment. You know, Luton getting the ball wide, getting crosses into the box, or setting it back to one of the three centre-backs to get a delivery into the box. Just trying something a little bit different.
Attention please, Beach Park.
Change for Wigan, just to eat up a few more seconds. It's Edmonds Green who's come off, and player coming on, I think, is it Darikwa? Quite sure who's come on over on that far side.
Yeah, it looks like
it. Romani Edmonds Green off, and Tendai Darikwa coming on, Zimbabwe international. Ball played forward by Wigan, but through to Horvath it goes, and we've got a minute to go plus added time. Horvath launches it back upfield for Luton, who are heading for a replay at the moment up at the DW Stadium, which will be just a matter of days before the league meeting between these sides. But here come Wigan with Lang trying to break through, just bundled off the ball by Potts, and he's gone down, Lang, and Potts has been shown a yellow card for just first yellow card of the evening, actually. Dan Potts receives it as Lang tried to burst through, and it'll be a free kick to Wigan here, and they'll push players forward, and everybody back for Luton as we approach added time. Luton 1, Wigan 1. It's, well, there was that effort, wasn't there, from Asgard, but they've not really had any sort of pressure, have they, Wigan, in this second period? Luton have had all the possession, all the pressure. Crosses fizzing in and just evading players, and one or two efforts blocked. But here's a free kick for Wigan towards, as we approach added time. Power takes it right-footed, drifts it into the back post, and it's headed well wide by Charlie Hughes. Got up well, Hughes, but couldn't direct his header anywhere near goal, and it goes well wide of Ethan Horvath's left-hand post. So added time. Well, there's got to be 5 or 6 minutes. Has he held the board up there?
I think he's just put it down. I think I've missed it.
I missed what he held up there. The fourth official. I think the PA announcer did as well. Quite sure what it was. It's got to be 5 or 6 minutes. We're into added time now. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Nyambe volleying the ball away. Potts is back there, but Keane just gets there ahead of him. Just whips it away from him, and here's Keane. All of a sudden Wigan have come to life going forward now. Right hand side, cross whipped into the near post. Horvath grabs it at the second attempt. Lang went for it, had every right to, but Horvath grabbed it at the second attempt at the near post as Power whipped it in from that right hand side. Wigan deciding that they don't really want to replay either and having a go all of a sudden.
Yeah, they are suddenly flooding bodies forward, looking menacing going forward as well. Will Keane's offered a lot more up front than Ashley Fletcher did. A bit more movement from him, getting Asgard involved, and Lang's pushed out onto the right hand side as well. So instead of a very narrow formation, Wigan are offering a lot more width now with Asgard on the left and Lang on the right.
Potts clears the ball upfield into added time at Kenilworth Road. Luton 1, Wigan 1. Could be a replay. Again, we're not really sure how much added time there'll be. We didn't see the board go up. If it did, it was very quickly. We're being told 5 added minutes. 5 added minutes as Wigan come forward. Asgard just lays it off. Back to Naylor, who opened the scoring back in the 16th minute, of course, and he played it forward to Power, and Pelly Ruddock just nonchalantly ducked underneath it and allowed it to go out of play, and Power wasn't expecting that, and had he gambled Power, he'd have got in behind there, but it's gone out of play for a goal kick. Into added time at Kenilworth Road. 5, well, it was going to be any less than 5 after all the substitutions we've had, and we've had 2 minutes of the 5. Horvath clears upfield. It flicks off the head of Watmore. Jerome heads it down for Woodrow down the left-hand side. Still Woodrow. Jerome has stayed down injured. Ruddock plays it back to Potts. Back up on his feet now, Cauley Woodrow. Osho plays it into Berry. Berry flicks it back to Ruddock, who gets it stuck under his feet and then loses possession, Pelly Ruddock. And now here's Power coming forward. Power trying to hold off Bree. Lays it off down this right-hand side and breaking forward now. Wigan in towards Keane on the edge of the penalty area. Hooked away by Osho, who was then caught by Keane as he got the ball away. Free kick to Luton. And I go back to, again, Ruddock losing the ball there. Pelly Ruddock is fantastic in these circumstances, in this time of a game, when he's played the whole match. When he comes on with 15-20 minutes to go, he takes 15-20 minutes to warm up. He's not the player necessarily to bring on for the last 20 because he takes time to get into the game. And Watson obviously is struggling with cramp, but they've sort of lost his presence in that area. Wigan having another go at coming forward here, but Luke Berry's trying to win it back in midfield, and he's got Asgard in a wrestling hold inside the centre circle. At the moment, it's Wigan who look more likely in the last couple of minutes, Sam, here.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised that Luke Berry's avoided a yellow card there, because he had Asgard in a headlock at one point. But Wigan have a free kick on the edge of the centre circle, and yeah, Luton having to stay strong because Luton put Wigan under pressure for almost the entirety of the second half until the last, few minutes plus stoppage time.
Power with the free kick, clips it into the box. It's headed goalwards. Oh, great save by Horvath. It was Naylor again. High up there, Naylor looped his header. It was heading for the top corner, and Horvath's leapt across to keep Luton in the game. One apiece. Great save, Horvath.
That's a terrific save. It's not loads of pace on the header, but enough to really test Horvath, and it was heading right for that top corner, and he had to sprawl across, leap across his goal mouth, Horvath, turn it behind for a corner.
Last 30 seconds, corner in towards the near post, and in, flicks in at the near post, and it's Naylor. No, flags up for offside. Naylor thinks he's put Wigan through, but the flag's up for offside, as that was whipped in from the corner. Not quite sure. He's given. Has he given offside there?
I think he has to have done. I don't know what else it could be.
But from a corner? I mean, it's whipped into the near post. Unless it's flicked on at the near post and then Naylor's turned it in. It must have been. It must have been flicked on and then turned in, because he couldn't be offside straight from the corner. It's been flicked on and turned in by Naylor, but the flag's up for offside.
It's just been ruled out for offside. Wigan thought they'd won it in the last kick of the game.
Virtually the last kick of the game. And it's Luton, having dominated the second half, who are hanging on here in added time. We've got about, we're over the 5 minutes now.
Absolutely incredible.
In this second half.
Looked as though they'd won it, Wigan, but offside from the corner. Must have been come off a Wigan player and then converted by Naylor, who drifted offside from the initial flick on. Well, Wigan have only come to life in added time.
They have.
And Luton have sort of run out of gas and ideas, it seems to me. Since they made the changes, they've lost that momentum as Wigan try to come forward down the right hand side, but that's gone out of play. Referee's added on another minute. I don't think he can add on too much more. It looks like a replay at the DW Stadium. It'll be back-to-back trips to Wigan for Luton. One apiece. Whistle goes full time at Kenilworth Road. And these two sides will have to do it all again, and then do it all again in the Championship 3 or 4 days afterwards. One apiece. Well, they dominated the second half, but didn't. No really clear-cut chances, Sam?
Not really, no. Lots of balls into the box, lots of surges forward, a couple of nice interchanges of passing in and around the penalty area, a couple of decent crosses into the box. But to be fair, Wigan stayed strong. For a team who conceded 4 goals in each of the last 3 games, they look much better defensively this evening. Wigan Athletic dealt with everything really Luton threw at them, apart from that Cornick header right at the end of the first half. And Luton, as you say, Simon, didn't really call Ben Amos, the goalkeeper, into action too often in this game. A couple of saves that were routine for him, but other than that, a couple of efforts that, a couple of shots that were blocked. decent crosses into the box, half chances at best from Luton. The best chance of all right at the end there, that offside goal for Wigan.
Yeah. And the save just before that as well from Horvath to deny Naylor, that sort of looping header, but it was heading for the corner. And he saved from Asgard. I know it was straight at him, but you know, they had the efforts on goal, really, didn't they, in the last 5 minutes or so. Luton, again, I'll go back to the substitutions. Wigan substitutions made a difference for them. Luton substitutions made a difference for them, but, well, Doughty, I think, was a positive one, but Pelly Ruddock in midfield can't do that. That is 15 minutes from time is not Pelly time, because he needs that to get into the game. Yeah, I thought they and Jerome coming on didn't really get much of a look in. Cornick, would you have stuck with Cornick? I don't know. It's easy to say sat here. They've not lost. They're still in the cup and they'll be in the draw tomorrow, but they've now got a trip to Wigan on a Tuesday or a Wednesday night.
I do think when Louis Watson came off, and he had to because he had cramp, they lost a little bit of composure in midfield, and it opened up the game a bit, which helped Wigan out.
Yes.
Suddenly Wigan started flooding forward on the counter-attack and looking really dangerous, because Luton just didn't have much composure in midfield, and I think they really lost that when Louis Watson went off. You know, bringing on Pelly Ruddock, he's quite combative in those midfield areas, but he let Wigan go on a counter-attack by a tackle that he made. You mentioned that it takes a little bit of time to get into a game, so that didn't really help Luton, and they'd won that midfield battle up to that point, and I think that's what shifted the momentum in Wigan's favour, and well, they very nearly won it right at the end.
They did. So they'll have to do it all again at the DW Stadium. It'll be a week on Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday or Monday or whenever these matches get rearranged for, who knows these days, but more than likely Tuesday or Wednesday. And of course you can hear full commentary whenever it takes place here on BBC Three Counties Radio.